Good. This week has been unbelievable for movie news because CinemaCon was going on, and there's so many great movies in theaters right now. There's so many great shows on streaming. So we haven't had a show in 2 weeks. We've got so much stuff to talk about. So it's probably better off just to cut the nice talk and just get into it. But actually, it's not one of our topics, but actually one that kind of an off the topic. CW, there was two shows cancelled this week. I just want to touch on it briefly. Warner Brothers Discovery have taken over Warner Brothers now with the merger, and it looks like they're cutting a lot of maybe shows or movies that wouldn't be profitable or wouldn't be something that's sustainable for the company. And they axed Batwoman after 3 seasons. It won't be getting a fourth season, and it axed Legends of Tomorrow. I just want to get your quick thoughts on those two shows being cancelled by, well, I don't know who exactly cancelled them, but they were cancelled.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen those shows. I haven't seen Batwoman, but I have seen Legends of Tomorrow season one, and I think half of season two, or almost the entirety of season two. But after that, I just stopped. I gave up on all the CW shows. I never watched Flash after season four, and then left Supergirl, Arrow, everything. So I just am not caught up on what it became since. So I don't know what the quality of shows have become, but to me that was the worst part when I was watching. So I just dropped all of them. So to me, this is not that surprising because I just kind of expected this would happen someday at least, because the quality of the shows and the viewers are not that high. So it was just going for the sake of going, I guess. But there's been some stuff like the recasting of Batwoman and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. It's just something that doesn't bother me, neither it excites me in any way. I just am neutral to it. I don't watch it, so I don't care. But I know a lot of people still watch the shows, even if they kind of hate some of the things they do. They still watch the shows, and to them this probably is sad news, but to me it's just nothing.
Yeah, I only watched the first few episodes of Legends of Tomorrow. I like the feel of it. I only started watching it because um, Wentworth Miller, who was in The Flash, played Captain
Yeah.
Cold. I loved him from Prison Break, and then Dominic Purcell, who was in Prison Break as well. He was a villain Flash. Um, what was his character called in The Flash? He was a villain as well.
Heatwave.
Heatwave, yeah. So I like those two actors, and that's the only reason I started watching it. And then I kind of fell behind, never went back to it. And then I found out that they left the show, or one of them left the show, so I wasn't too interested. And then Batwoman, I never liked Ruby Rose. I checked out the first few episodes, never liked her in it whatsoever. And then Javicia Leslie came in as a recast, and I actually think she's pretty good as Batwoman. But everything around the show was just bad. It's not good at all. It's not fun. It's just not interesting. The characters are poor. She was the bright spot in it, but the rest of it was just I didn't like it. So look, yeah, I'm not going to cry over those two shows being cancelled, but I will say there's a lot of people out there that do like those shows, the CW shows. They have a fan base, obviously. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have been going on for as long as they went on for. Maybe I don't know, but it would have been nice maybe for them to get an episode send off or something like that for the fans, because I hate when shows just end, say on a cliffhanger. There's no next season, or they just end in the middle of a story. I think it would have been nice for maybe the cast, the crew, and the fans to do like a 90-minute special or a 60-minute special send-off episode to tie up some storylines and stuff like that. But that's not going to be the case. There seems to
I
be a
don't
lot
think
of
they are connected even anymore, are they?
the CW shows.
Yeah.
No, I just mean a Batwoman episode, final episode, or a two-part finale or something like that, or even Legends
Yeah,
of Tomorrow, something like that would have been nice.
that could be
But
cool.
yeah, it looks like the Warner Bros. Discovery coming in. It's changing up things. There's some rumors out there right now that Wonder Twins might be cancelled. I don't know if it's true or not, but it looks like they're changing things up. And they're going to be more picky in what they choose and what kind of projects. And yeah, the CW era might be on its way out in the next few months anyway. If they're action shows like this, I just hope they keep Superman and Lois around. Hopefully they do, because that feels like it doesn't feel like a CW show at all. in a way. But yeah, but we won't cry over those two shows being cancelled. I think The Flash might be next. Maybe there's some rumors about that circulating as well. So yeah,
Yep.
we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, we're not too invested in those shows. We prefer Peacemaker and Superman Lois and shows like that. But yeah, let's get into the main show. Better Call Saul is back for its final season. I think it's been on a break for the last 2 years because of COVID, and then the star Bob Odenkirk, who plays Saul Goodman, he had a heart attack, I think, on set or something like that. So it delayed production, but it's back now for its sixth and final season. 3 episodes have aired so far. I love this show so much, I really do. I love Bob Odenkirk in absolutely anything, but I'm one of the people who thinks that Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad. Now, I loved Breaking Bad. I loved it. Walter White, Jesse
A lot
Pinkman,
of
and
people
all
said
that.
that.
Have they?
Yeah.
Like, I think Breaking Bad is the cooler show. I think it has the cooler characters. It has the evolution of Walter White, his story. That's pretty cool, you know. But I think Better Call Saul is better written. It's just everything about it. The side characters are more evolved or better written as well. The soundtrack, the cinematography, the way they just the way they shoot certain scenes, and like it's symbolism, or it's metaphorical in a way for something that happens in a few episodes time or later on in the season. And I loved how at the end of Breaking Bad, Saul Goodman kind of gets away, he starts a new life, and we get to cut to that in this series as well. But he's depressed, he's working at some kind of ice cream place or something like that, and he's depressed, like he's just sad with his life because he had this great kind of life as a lawyer working for the cartel with Walter White and stuff like that. But even when this show was announced, like, I wasn't too intrigued by the lawyer from Breaking Bad, how they're going to do a series about that. And I fell in love with the series. I've been watching since 2015. It's been going on 6 seasons, obviously, and I just think it's the better evolved show of the two. And it's sad it's ending because I think it's a perfect show. It's really, really good. And it has been confirmed that Bryan Cranston as Walter White and Aaron Paul as Jesse Pinkman will be in the final season of Better Call Saul. We don't know what episode, but they're going to be in it. So that's pretty cool because I loved when the two of them popped up together in El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie. And the Breaking Bad universe is evolving and growing. And I love it. I think it's brilliant. Vince Gilligan was the creator of the show. He's one of the main producers on Better Call Saul as well. I hope they make another spin-off of some sort or a movie or something like that, because I think this world that they've created is really, really interesting, really provoking, and it would be a shame just to end it now. I don't think they will, because AMC, their biggest properties have been The Walking Dead and the Breaking Bad universe. I don't see them getting rid of the Breaking Bad universe anytime soon. But yeah, first 3 episodes have aired. Great as always. I'm not going to give away too much because there's a lot of spoilers even in the first 3 episodes. But everyone's very intrigued to see how Saul Goodman is going to be the lawyer that we get to see in Breaking Bad, this sleazy kind of lawyer. He has a love interest, of course, in Better Call Saul. She was never in Breaking Bad, so people have been speculating, does she die? Does she leave? What exactly happens to her? We've got more stuff going on with the cartel, but after 3 episodes, Better Call Saul is just as good as always, and it's great to have it back. And it's great to have a show that you can't really binge in a way, because Better Call Saul is one of these shows that the week-to-week viewing actually benefits it, because you go online, you discuss with people, you have some theories, you kind of just have to think about the series instead of just clicking on the next episode as much as you want to, but it keeps you coming back week after week. And it's one of my favorite things to do is just sit down, close off all social media, phones, and just sit down and watch Breaking Bad. So yeah, have you been a fan of the Breaking Bad universe, El Camino, the main show Breaking Bad, and now the spin-off Better Call Saul?
Well, no. Well, before I get into that, let's just welcome everyone in the chat because my mic was apparently off when we did the intro. So, welcome Rokan, Jason, Eric, Ben, and Tarun. Welcome everyone, and I hope you guys stay for the DC talk as well because that's gonna be a big discussion. So yeah, I I have never seen Breaking Bad. Yeah, I know. I know.
That's a crime. That's a crime, man.
I know. I have never seen Breaking Bad, so I haven't watched this show as well. So I know that it's a big part of, pop culture. I know everyone who watches Game of Thrones have watched that show. You have never seen Game of Thrones, and I have never seen Breaking Bad. So
Yeah,
we,
we equal each other out or balance each other out.
yeah. But yeah, I don't think I've ever watched Breaking Bad. I know that it's, a good show, but it's something that does not interest me. Neither does this show, so I don't think I'll be watching. But I'm glad that this has continued, and I did hear from a lot of people that said that this show might actually be better than Breaking Bad, even though that's such a huge thing to say, right?
Yeah, well, look, Breaking Bad was one of these things kind of just it was huge at the time. Like, well, actually, not the first season. The first season wasn't watched by many people, but it grew over time, especially because of Netflix. Because it was on Netflix, you could go and you could binge it, and people kind of got on the Breaking Bad train, and it started growing a bigger fan base, which was pretty cool. And now it's this massive thing that people still watch. And Bryan Cranston, who was, of course, Hal and Malcolm in the Middle, that's where I kind of first watched him, and I loved Malcolm in the Middle. But he was somebody that was looked at as a comedian. Oh, he's very good in that series. And then Breaking Bad comes around, and it's a completely different character, different story, and he's just fantastic. You get to watch this evolution of him. This man who has cancer, he wants to leave something for his family after he passes, so he makes crystal meth, and
Yeah.
yeah, it just furthered itself. And Better Call Saul, yeah, look, because the series is it's so well written. Every single character is important to the overall story. Every single character, and even new characters that they bring in for a few episodes or one episode, and they contribute to the story. They're so interesting. You could make an argument that this character in season 3, episode 5, you could do a mini spin off with this character, and you'd be okay with it because you know that the creators, the writers, the directors, they all take this so seriously, and the way that just they create and craft these characters in this world is just it's one of those shows that just is perfect every single episode, and I've enjoyed it over the last 6 seasons, and it's a shame that it's ending. But I hope they announce something, a spin-off, just before this one ends. So, yeah, Better Call Saul is back, and looking forward. New episodes drop on. Well, here it's different. They drop on Netflix here every Tuesday. So yeah, so I don't know when they drop in the US. Maybe Sunday night or Monday.
Nice. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is Ozark. Final season?
Yeah, Ozark is the fourth and final season. This is another series that I love so much. I would say, I would argue that Ozark is the best Netflix original series that they've created, and it's of course a bit of a break as well with COVID. And what they decided to do was they split the last season into two parts. So we had the first part of the last season, season 4, in January. I think January around that time, and now this is the second half of this. So that's it's nice to give fans that send off. The first part was 7 episodes. This one is 7 episodes, and each episode is like 60 minutes long, or sometimes it's an hour and 5 minutes or an hour and 10 minutes. So there's a lot of work put into these shows. And Ozark, I only originally started watching Ozark because of Jason Bateman. He's in it, and of course, I love all his comedy movies. And as I said before many times on the channel, I love when a comedian tackles drama or he does something completely different. And I think at times comedic actors are better dramatically than the so-called dramatic actors, the so-called actors out there. And it starts off with this kind of it's kind of like Breaking Bad in a way. When the first trailer came out for this, it's like, oh, it's just Breaking Bad, but it's more the money side of it, and it kind of is. It's more the cartel, it's more the money side of it, more business sense of the money laundering and drug money and cartels and wars and the U.S. government and FBI and stuff like that. So, but it's very interesting. And Laura Linney's in this show as well. She is the wife of Jason Bateman's character. They get involved in this, then their family move to the Ozarks. That's basically where the show takes place, is the Ozarks. And the Ozarks looks so beautiful on this show, like some of the shots, the lakes, the just the entire scenery just looks beautiful, and I'd actually love to go visit there, even though it seems to be nothing there, only nice scenery. But yeah, it just evolves, and each season they get deeper and deeper into this. You've got families that live in the Ozark who are involved in their own kind of mini kind of drug manufacturing going on. Then it gets bigger to the cartels in Mexico crossing over, then money laundering, then the US government are involved, the FBI are involved, and they're all crossing each other over. And yeah, there's a lot to spoil in this second half of season 4, which I won't obviously, but there's a lot of twists, there's a lot of turns, And yeah, it's Netflix's best show in my opinion that they've made. It's a shame that it's ending, but I think this series will get a spin-off or a prequel or something like that. I don't see them ending this universe yet. And the way that the ending of this final season, they so called it, ended, it actually, in a way, didn't feel like a series finale. It felt like a season finale. It felt like there is going to be a season 5. It felt like they could go in any direction. They could end it right now if they really wanted to, but they also left it really open where they could say, this character here, we could tell a story with this character, or we could tell a story with this character, or we could go back a little bit. And the ending, I think, the very ending, I think, is going to be kind of mixed with a lot of people. It was mixed with me. I still don't know how to feel about it in a way. It's a little bit different. I wasn't expecting it whatsoever because it's supposed to be the final season. But yeah, it's still kind of sitting on me. I don't know how to think about it. But yeah, Jason Bateman, he also directs a lot of the episodes. And that's the only reason he got involved with the series. He wanted to be in it, but he said, I'll only be in it if I can direct. And he has directed a lot of the episodes. Laura Linney, a lot of the cast members direct a lot of the episodes. So that's pretty cool. And there is kind of this symbol, the Ozark logo comes up at the start of every single episode. So this is Ozark. And then there's kind of the O comes up and there's symbols inside the O. And Jason Bateman has said that the symbols, they actually tell you, they're kind of telling you what's going to happen in this episode, but not actually spoiling the episode for you. There's metaphors in it. There's some symbolism there as well that actually outlines this episode. So if you're if you're somebody who wants to break down things, that's pretty cool to kind of have at the start of each episode. But yeah, I thought part 2 of season 4 was much better than part 1. Very on the edge of your seat, some great performances and a lot of twists and turns, but I'm still kind of 50-50 on the ending. I don't know how I feel about it, but I don't think this Ozark series is the end of it. I think there will be some sort of spin-off or a sequel or a prequel. They'll definitely do something more because it's a loved show. It's one of their biggest shows, and I don't think they're gonna just end it like this. Have you ever watched Ozark? Have you ever been interested in it?
No, I haven't seen it. I almost started it once, when it was, in season 3 or 2, I think. But I have not seen it. Neither do I know about the premise. Until now, up until hearing you talking about it today, I was thinking this is some kind of an alien show where there's an alien invasion or something in their city, But yeah, it's interesting. I might watch it at some point, especially because it's recent, and if this is not the final season, maybe that will motivate me even more. So yeah.
Yeah. Rokan says he loves Ozark. Great final season. So that's awesome. Eric Patterson is here. Ozark is an awesome show. I think Ozark will go on. He says, I think it will as well. I think they'll. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out and say there'll be another season because I think the show is loved and just the way it ends. And Rokan goes, I feel like this and Dodgeball are Bateman's best roles. Yeah, he's very funny in Dodgeball. He plays one of the commentators. Yeah, it's brilliant. I love that movie. But yeah, Ozark, I definitely recommend checking it out. If you like Breaking Bad, you'd probably like this, but it's more kind of, I don't know, it's more kind of I don't know if it, I wouldn't say grounded, but it's more kind of the money side of it. It's kind of a bigger, you go deeper into it. Breaking Bad, you're more kind of Walter White, you're more Jesse Pinkman, you're more kind of Gustavo Fring. Here you get to see kind of the bigger side of it all, and it's much bigger with the FBI involved, the government involved, and stuff like that. So yeah, and Laura Linney is her character is a character that you probably love to hate. She's such a badass. She is so kind of mean and everything that she does. She's ruthless, and yeah, she's a very interesting character. And Laura Linney is a fantastic actress, and she's just fantastic just to watch throughout this entire series. So Ozark, definitely check it out if you haven't already. And it's a pity it ended, but I don't think it will end.
All right. Up next, we have Outer Range. Now, this one is something that I'm actually gonna watch, especially because it's just some mysterious thing that lands into his
I'm not too sure. Is it Outer Ranch or Outer Range? I'm not too sure because I never heard of
Outer Range.
But it's on a ranch though as well, so it might be Outer Ranch. I don't know. Could be Outer Range as well. I don't know. Maybe you're right. I could be just wrong. But it's
Yeah, so Josh Brolin is in it, and it's about this mysterious thing that lands up in this ranch, and that's all about I need to know to watch it. So I don't know when this will end, but as soon as it does, I'm gonna check this one out. But you have seen what, 6 episodes now, right?
Yeah, 6 episodes have premiered on, what was it on? I forget which streaming service it was.
Amazon Prime.
Um, Amazon Prime. Yeah, that's where I've seen it. Yeah, Josh Brolin's in it, so obviously you're gonna check it out because Josh Brolin's such a big actor. But yeah, I was I actually did. I never watched a trailer for this at all. I just kind of seen him kind of promoting on his Instagram, supernatural western thing. I'm in already, pretty cool. He's in it, so I checked it out, and yeah, I really like the show. It's not like the best show I've seen in the last while, but it's interesting because this on this ranch got these cowboys, family farm, and they're struggling for money. They're just trying to keep hold of their land. And Josh Brolin's character finds something that's very kind of supernatural in a way, and he doesn't know what it is. And there's also kind of there's a murder mystery in it as well. There's
Oh,
this mysterious there's a mysterious hippie girl that has come. She says she's traveling, she's passing through, and she asks Josh Brolin's character, "Oh, can I stay in your farm and just passing through?" But there's more to her character as well, And yeah, it goes a little bit deeper. I don't know what it's based on or anything, but it's a very interesting show. Josh Brolin, of course, is awesome to look at, and yeah, I love the show because the show it implements music into it, so songs and stuff like that. And I like when movies and shows bring music into it because music can be a character as well. And at the end of every single episode, there's a cliffhanger and they play a song. And some of the songs I've never heard before, some of them I have. And I love movies and TV shows for music because I discover songs I never heard before in my life. And then I go listen to them on repeat. And then when I listen to them, I think of that show or stuff like that. So yeah, there's a big mystery or conspiracy around it all. And yeah, there's one of the episodes in particular, I don't know which one it is, 3 or 4, and the cliffhanger is like, what is going on? And they play a really cool song in it as well. And you're just pumped to press play in the next episode. It's one of these shows where each episode ends, you want to find out what happens next. And they're dropping 2 episodes weekly, which is awesome because I missed it the first 2 weeks, so I got to binge 4 in a row and then 2 as well. So that's cool. I like this kind of. Some of the shows are doing this now, where 2 episodes come out. I think the Andrew Garfield the one as well. 2 episodes come out with that. So yeah, so this is a good one now if you're interested in kind of supernatural stuff, kind of big conspiracy to it all, murder mystery. It's all westerns. It's all mixed together, and Josh Brolin is just he's terrific as always. So I definitely check this one out, and I hope it gets a season 2 because there's a rabbit hole here with this series, and I think they could go so much further
literally.
with it. Literally, there's a rabbit hole with it all, but like they could go further with it all, but they can't just go for the sake of going further. Like season 1 needs to have some sort of concrete kind of explanation of what's actually going on for you to come back for season 2. I don't want it to be, oh, we're not going to tell you exactly what it is, but come back for season 2 anyway. I want some kind of information. So, and it is weird because some of the stuff that happens already in these first 6 episodes, you're like, what? This is crazy. This is crazy. So, yeah, I've been enjoying it big time.
Awesome. I'll be definitely checking it out. All right, so let's move on to Andrew Garfield's new show. And this one is also something that I wanted to check out as soon as I saw the trailer because, well, it's Andrew Garfield, but also it's in a genre and tone that I love, which is this murder mystery thing, thriller all the way through. And I love watching such series because um, it just keeps you engaged for the entire show, right? It's not like some big stuff needs to happen every episode and all that, but you keep getting clues and you're just engaged throughout the show. So I was definitely gonna check it out, even if it wasn't Garfield actually. But having him there in this type of role actually, it's something new that he's doing because he's never done this type of role before. So it would be interesting to see that as well. So you have seen the first 2 episodes, right? So what did you think about the show? And also how did you how do you feel about Garfield's role? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Apologies. I watched the first episode. I didn't watch the second one yet because I love this. I love the first episode. I was very surprised at how good it was. But it was my mother's birthday that day, so I didn't get to watch the second episode. And then the next day, Ozark came out, and I really wanted to finish that. So I haven't watched the second episode yet. Then Outer Range came out. So like I have so many shows to watch right now. But the first episode of this Andrew Garfield under the banner of heaven, it reminds me a lot of True Detective season 1. Now, True Detective season 1 for me is the greatest single season of television ever. Matthew McConaughey as Russ Cole. You've got Woody Harrelson as Marty, I think it is. And I love that series. A detective, murder mystery, religious, conspiracy, cover-ups, all that kind of stuff. And this show kind of has something similar to that as well. It's on FX. Andrew Garfield is the main kind of detective. He's a very religious man. A brutal murder happens in the first few seconds of the first episode, and this sets up the entire series. And Andrew Garfield's detective, of course, trying to find out, obviously, and his own fate, his own religion is being questioned because this murder is related to a religious group in a way, because you've got the Jesus Christ of like it's a religious group who, like, they obviously talk about God. They have their mass, their church every single week, and you join it. Like, so in America, I think there's certain like religious groups you can join like that. I don't think they're called cults, but maybe they are cults in a way. But so this kind of religious group is tied to the murder in a way, not in like a cult way, sacrifice type of way. We don't know exactly what's going on yet, but that's where Andrew Garfield's character is kind of questioning his own fate, because this murder is so brutal and it's related, or it's intertwined with something that he believes in so much, and he just can't understand it, and he's trying to understand it. And as he gets deeper and deeper into this murder and the intentions of this murder, he just gets a little bit darker, and you can see that happening on the screen as well. And it's got Daisy Edgar Jones in this series as well. She was in an Irish show called Normal People. That's where I first got to see her. Then she did the movie Fresh with Sebastian Stan, which was on Hulu or Disney Plus. It was on Disney Plus here. And I'm really liking her as an actress right now. She's popping up everywhere. I think she's got a new movie coming out pretty soon, where it was shown at CinemaCon, where the dad flies or something like that. I forget the name of it, but I'm seeing that advertised a lot. The trailer was really good, and she's in this as well. And what the series does is it has this present story of the detective trying to find out the murder, but while he is interviewing people, I think the movie is called Where the Crawdads Lie. When he's trying to figure out this mystery, he's talking to certain people, he's interviewing them, and then they give their kind of point of view of something that happened a few weeks ago or a few months ago or a few years ago. So you go back into the past and you understand more about the character who was murdered, and also the people that she got to meet along the way as well. So yeah, it's very True Detective-esque season 1, and I like that a lot. Andrew Garfield, of course, look, he's a great actor. And I think he said he's going to take a break after this, which is a shame because he's on a bit of a roll right now. You know, I thought he was bringing Tick Tick Boom. I thought he was, he came back as Spider-Man, and now he's doing this series, and he's killing it right now. And 2 episodes are out right now. Go check them out. I'm into the show already. After the first 15-20 minutes, I was already hooked into this show because it's mixing religion as well. And I'm not really a religious guy, but I kind of what the show does as well. A lot of these characters are telling kind of religious stories, and they're set up in a way for what's in a parallel story. It's very, what they do is they go back into history, and a certain historic story is similar to another kind of historic story, which is they viewpoint it in a religious way, and it's also it's very parallel to what the story is of this series. So yeah, I think it's written well, and I'm surprised you haven't seen it yet, because
I didn't even know. I didn't even know it was dropping.
I gave you the topics for today, and you're like, "Wait, is that show out?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, "Yeah, it's out. It's class."
And even the flight attendant, which I loved the first season, I only got to know that so many episodes came out like a few days ago, so I have to catch up on that as well. But I'll be definitely watching this, and this role is kind of similar to his Hacksaw Ridge role, right? Because in that, even in that, he's a man of faith and he believes in his religion and all that, and because of that, it motivates him and gives him hope and all that. So he's already proven to be, to play that part pretty well. So I'm really looking forward to it.
And Sam Warrington is in this series as well.
Oh,
He plays kind of one of the, he's an Avatar, I suppose.
yes,
We get to see him in the Avatar sequels. He was in Terminator Salvation, of course, as well. Clash of the Titans, but he is one of there's a family. There's the Laffertys. There's a family in this series that this is all tied directly to, and we get to learn more about this family. And this family is a big religious group. They're kind of the leaders in their community of that religion, of that religious group. They're a big family. Their father is very he's very kind of he's very strong. He's very opinionated in terms of his morals, his laws, his rules with his family and stuff. Like, he's very strict on his family. He's got a lot of sons, and they're supposed to take over for him. And I'm interested to see how deep this kind of goes as well, in terms of is how far is the religious undertones actually tied to the murder? Is there something with maybe, it seems to be a lot of cover up as well in this series. So yeah, I think Sam Worthington plays a nice character, a good role as well, a very kind of mysterious role because you don't know what to think of him. But it's cool to have these big actors in this, and they're all doing awesome. So
yeah, I'll definitely be checking it out. All right, so moving on to Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay, so this trailer came out a while ago, but we didn't have a show last week, so we're talking about it now. But look, I kind of liked, but also didn't like Thor Ragnarok. I feel the first part was the best one. I even think the second part is better than Ragnarok. But Ragnarok had a lot of interesting changes, and they increased his scale and scope of what that universe can be like. So there are some interesting stuff in Ragnarok, but I didn't vibe with the whole making it a parody of Thor thing, where they're just making fun of him and all that. So I didn't like that part. But there was a lot of stuff like, Asgard, the whole Asgard being blown and all that. The Ragnarok monster was cool. So my I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't like it too much. But this trailer just looks like it will be even better than Ragnarok, and it feels like it will be more Taika Waititi than the previous one, which I feel is a good thing. I know a lot of people might not like that thing, but I do feel that when his um balance is set, like, his comedic parts and his emotional parts, if they are in balance, I feel that the product is pretty good. Like Jojo Rabbit is a pretty good example. There was his vampire movie that I saw, and there was this hunt for the wilder people that was also pretty good. So not everything he does is comedy. So, and his Mandalorian episode, that was also pretty good, one of the best. So I do think that with this movie he'll bring that balance. But speaking from the trailer, I really liked, firstly, the look of the movie. I like how it's so weird. There's a flying boat. His costume is completely changed. There's a different feel to it. I don't know. I just cannot describe it well, but it feels more in line with the Guardians of the Galaxy type of space thing, than it than to Ragnarok, first, to say the least. But I did like that, and I feel like we are going to get some new things, and I hope that this movie is good, because this will definitely be, for me, the making or breaking point for wanting more Taika Thor movies. But so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I loved the song that was in the trailer. This is probably the best song choice that Marvel ever did. So maybe that also has a positive effect on me liking the trailer. But I do like the visuals as well, and I'm excited to seeing it.
yeah, look, I love Thor Ragnarok. I thought it was a lot of fun. I was never really interested in Thor as a character. Like I liked him in the Avenger movies, but I was never too interested to check out really his solo movies. I watched them like, not really for me, the way he talks and stuff like that. And but like when Thor Ragnarok came out, it was like a U-turn of the character. It was more comedic. It was more kind of more fun in a way. The music choices as well, his comedic timing. Chris Hemsworth's brilliant at comedy, so they've implemented that. I think maybe in a way he was probably the best part of the female Ghostbusters movie. He was very funny in that. Maybe that's what led to Marvel kind of looking at him more of a comedic character in the MCU. And I know people have used kind of, when I said I love Thor Ragnarok and I love this newer version of Thor, like after Thor Ragnarok and after Infinity War, Thor was probably one of my favorite Marvel MCU characters.
Yep.
And his introduction, his scene with him and Groot and Rocket when they go into the battle, and
still one of the best.
That was cool. The whole theater I was in was just like, whoa, yeah, this is awesome. And he had a really good storyline in that. Yeah. I didn't like what they did with him in Endgame to a degree. But I just didn't like the fat Thor kind of element to it. I thought that was too over the top. I liked his actual arc. That was interesting. But then like fat Thor, just for me, I would roll my eyes at that. But people have said to me that, can you imagine if you love Batman? Yeah. Could you imagine reading Batman comics and he is this noir detective, and he's a brutal, he stops criminals and stuff like that, and then they turn him into, I don't know, like this comedic relief, this Deadpool like character or something like that. People have said that because they've completely changed Thor into this comedic character. He's not like the character from the comics and stuff like that, or even for the first two movies. And I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe in a way, maybe, I don't know, but obviously audiences like this character.
That's the thing, right? Because even though I do like the old Thor better and I want him to be like this strong Wonder Woman or Superman type character and not this Deadpool type character, I do think that this was needed. What Taika made was needed because this franchise was dead. Like Thor 1 didn't make a lot of money and Thor 2 made even less. So he is such a great character with a great potential, and that was not being used, right? So I do understand why the renewal or reboot of Thor was needed, and his short hair look was so popular as well. Like he had the complete black suit, and that look was fantastic. So yes, even though the movie is kind of silly and weird, his reboot was needed because that movie that movie made over $1 billion, and this movie also feels like it will. And for the Endgame thing, he was depressed and all that. It makes sense for them to go that route, I guess, but because of that, this movie even is elevated because this arc will be him growing out of that, right? So we'll be getting back to the Thor we know and love. So that's also one element in this movie that I think is something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I agree that it was needed for the franchise because, like, the MCU has built itself up to be this fun, light, comedic-driven universe where this character's cool, all the banter here is awesome, hero wins at the end of the day, and everyone goes home happy. And that's okay. It's worked for Marvel time and time again. And then when they do something different like Eternals, it gets the lowest kind of Rotten Tomatoes score. The audience score isn't that massive. And I think Eternals is the best MCU movie because it actually takes some risks. It actually has some stakes to it, and the ending is just this is bigger than the whole MCU. The massive thing inside the earth.
And nobody will ever address that.
Yeah, it's so annoying because that's like, wow, that's really interesting. But hopefully they expand on that more. But like, what I'm saying is, like, Thor 1 and 2 do fine, but they're not loved. They're not loved like Iron Man or Captain America or anything like that, or the Spider-Man movies. Because I think in a way, what holds it back is it's trying to tell this very serious mythological Norse mythology story with Odin and Thor and stuff like that, and the way he speaks. In a way, it can be boring to these MCU fans because they're not interested in those types of stories whatsoever. If they wanted to do that, they'd watch something with Ridley Scott making it or something. They're just not interested at all.
They won't watch anything with Ridley Scott in it. He called these movies boring.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh was trying to bring those elements into this Thor World 1 and 2. and it was deeper and it was a little bit darker in places as well than the rest of the MCU. But like it just wasn't fans weren't attaching themselves to it. But then Taika Waititi comes in, he's like, okay, let's add humor, let's give him a haircut, let's give him a new costume, let's bring the Hulk in as like a comedy cop buddy,
Yeah.
movie. Let's have him cracking jokes at the villains and stuff like that. And it actually has benefited the franchise, and that's why I think the Thor Ragnarok was the first movie of a trilogy now. I think he'll get this one out, he'll have another one, and it's rebooted Thor in a way in the MCU, and I love the character now. I'm looking forward to this movie big time. I thought the trailer was a lot of fun. Lady Thor or Mighty Thor, whatever she's called, Natalie Portman coming into it. She looked pretty cool. You got the goats carrying the boat, flying the boat. That's interesting.
Yeah.
The Guardians are in it. The Guardians of the Galaxy are in it. That look like a very funny scene.
Christian Bale.
Thor's finding himself. And you know what? Something that might help this movie as well, because Thor is like, I need to find my purpose.
Yeah.
A lot of people are trying to find their purpose. So, in life, and what am I supposed to do with myself? Now you can relate to your superhero who's going through something similar, like Thor. So I think that this new version of Thor has definitely added more life to the character. So yeah, I think this is the start of a trilogy. I think he'll be one of the main leaders for the Avenger movies going forward again.
Yeah. And another thing that I like about this movie in particular is the addition of the Guardians, because I love the Guardians movies. I love both those movies and I love those characters. So it's great to have that in this, them teaming up, because in Infinity War, right, when they were, or Endgame was it, when they were having that banter together. Oh yeah, it was Infinity War when Thor was meeting the Guardians on their ship and they were just, going back and forth. So I love that banter between Thor and Chris Pratt's character Star-Lord. So that's also gonna be something exciting from this movie. So yeah, overall, I am actually interested in this movie more than I was in Ragnarok. I feel that this would be, especially after Taika made Jojo Rabbit, he wrote that movie as well. So after winning an Oscar for that movie, I feel like his writing for this movie will, be a little bit more nuanced and a little bit more serious, taking the characters a little bit more seriously than he did in Ragnarok. That's the only thing I didn't like about that movie. Otherwise, it was okay. It was pretty good. But I hope that he takes the character of Thor seriously. That's the only thing I want.
Thor 3, you can say that it had a lot of humor in it, but it was also dark in a way. He lost a guy. Odin died. He lost Asgard.
Loki again.
Yeah,
his sister.
Yeah, Loki died. Yeah, his sister died. It's dark in places. And actually, if you want to look at the opening to Infinity War as maybe like a epilogue to Ragnarok, it gets even darker. Loki, he dies, and then like Idris Elba's character dies as well. I thought there was some dark moments there. I think this one might be, in a way, something similar. You got Christian Bale coming in as Gore the Butcher, the God Butcher. Which I have faith that Christian Bale signed on, because he's going to be given something pretty cool to do, and he's going to be. I hope he's one of the best MCU villains we've seen. I hope so. I hope he's not too sidelined. Maybe Christian Bale's doing it for the money. I don't know. Maybe something for his kids to watch. I don't know. But hopefully he was given something really cool to do with this character.
In the trailer, we see Thor seeing this dead, huge monster on the ground, and that's apparently killed. Yeah, that's apparently killed by Gore.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting.
I will say, even though Russell Crowe's in this, I think his Zeus is going to be a goofball. I think he's going to be a little bit stupid. But look, he did a serious thing on Man of Steel. We can't attack actors for doing something fun in life, and it's a guaranteed win to be in an MCU movie if it's done right. If it's not the Eternals. So yeah, but I think Eternals would last longer in terms of I think Eternals will be something I look back on to years to come of the MCU than say Ant-Man or Ant-Man 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I do appreciate that movie. Rokon says, I love the first Thor so much. The second I think is underrated. Ragnarok I don't like. Takes with it Warrior Badass. Thor that was established. Eric Patterson says, I hope Thor 4 isn't too silly. Yeah,
Silly,
well,
yes, silly is the word that I would say that it shouldn't be.
yeah,
It can be
yeah,
funny, but just don't make
yeah.
fun of Thor.
Don't be too stupid.
Yeah,
Be stupid, but don't be too stupid.
yeah.
Rokan goes, Chris Hemsworth is a great comedic actor. He kills it on Saturday Night Live. But I do think Thor comedy works when he's a fish out of water, not the sex jokes and slapstick that we see in Endgame and Ragnarok. I'm fine with Thor's depression post Infinity War, as he should. He feels responsible. I wouldn't have gone that far. Yeah, I do like his depression in Endgame. I just don't like that they made him fat. I just don't like that part. But look, he's gonna work it off.
Yeah, he'll be working out.
He's gonna have a training montage, probably Rocky style, so that's okay. We'll get the badass buffed Thor hopefully in this new movie, and yeah, I think this movie's gonna do very well as well. You know, people were looking for that trailer. I think it's the shortest span to trailer to release date that the MCU's ever done, which is interesting. You know, they don't really do that much, and it was a big hit. The trailer, very big.
It's not even a trailer; it's a first teaser.
Yeah, true. It was only a minute and a half.
The first teaser for this movie came this late.
Yeah, that's interesting, but probably they don't want to take too much away from Doctor Strange either, and that's coming out soon, so we're looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Thor 4. I love Thor Ragnarok, so this one I'm very excited for.
Me too. And speaking of Thor, we have Moon Knight. I know that doesn't connect at all.
But, no, that's not a good segue at all.
Yeah. But yeah. So the Moon Knight episode 4 and 5 came out, and look, I can sit here and talk all day about how good Moon Knight is, and I still wouldn't do it justice because this show just keeps on getting better and better. Now we just have one episode left, but these last 2 episodes were so good. Like they I don't know how they crafted this without spoiling anything to the insiders or sources or anything like that, because there is so much here that I did not think would be there. Especially when episode 4 revealed such a massive twist in the show, and we still don't know what that twist actually means for the show. But it was so surprising yet refreshing, because I didn't think that was the direction the show was going or would go for, because of how the first 3 episodes entirely played out. Like they didn't even hint at anything like that, right? So that was also really cool. But the last episode was just something out of a Black Panther movie or something like that, and they even mentioned Black Panther a lot. And I felt the I now actually feel that these are 2 different characters when Mark and Steven are talking to each other, even though it's played by the same actor. He's so good at playing these roles. I'm just loving every second of it, and I cannot wait for the finale. I know that I just don't know how it was going to get here when I first started watching it, because it's so confusing. The plot is so confusing to nail how this show is gonna go, which is a good thing, because I like being surprised like this. I like twists in shows and like that, stuff like that. So I'm actually really enjoying it. Just 1 episode left. They have so much to wrap up, and apparently it's a limited series, so they don't have a season 2 planned, unless they
Ethan Hawke was like, I'm a real actor, I'm not doing this shit for a few years.
Unless they just surprise everyone with an announcement, which they can do. But for now, it's a limited series, which means the last episode will be episode 6, and then the show is done. And I think that's the way it's gonna go. I don't think season 2 will be coming back. I think that setting up Moon Knight like this was pretty good, because the next thing they would probably do is Midnight Suns, which actually is the actual team that would be a movie about or something like that. So I don't see why you need to do season 2 for this show, for this character, and I would be happy with it just being a limited series. But So far, I'm just really loving it, and I hope that episode 6 is pretty good, which I'm sure it will be. Um, so the directors that are working on the show and the writers, I've actually seen a couple of their movies before, and those movies are some of the best. If you like weird time travel, time loops type of things, if you like those things, you will love those movies. One movie is called The Endless. I forget the name of the other one that they did, but they are pretty good. If you loved this show, like how weird it is with all that stuff, you'll love those movies because it's just their writing is so good. So yeah, I'm really really liking it. I think it's probably my favorite um, Marvel show after Daredevil, I think. But I need to see that finale because they always surprise with the finales in a bad way. I hope the finale is good.
Yeah, probably the best finale was Loki in a way.
Yes.
Yeah, but like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing a single
Yeah.
season. Not everything has to be a franchise or have numerous seasons. And there's nothing wrong if they wanted to kill off Moon Knight. There's nothing wrong with that either. That would be very like that would be shocking if Moon Knight died or something like that. But don't do that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
guess a Midnight Suns, is that what it's called? Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
Um,
It would
yeah,
be
do something like
him,
that.
Ghost Rider, and I think a couple of others. So yeah,
Yeah,
Blade is
go for
also
it. Or
in it, I think.
maybe he might pop up in like Daredevil, the new season of Daredevil, if they make that, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if it's my favorite yet. I have to see the last episode because WandaVision, the ending there wasn't great. Hawkeye, the ending there wasn't great, and hopefully Moon Knight can stick the landing. And like my favorite is still the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I liked what that series set up. With Sam becoming the new Captain America, dealing with the racial kind of struggles there as well. And also, but like what Moon Knight's doing so well is it's. I actually haven't seen the MCU trope of let's make it light here, let's tell a joke here, force into this. I think
Yeah.
the comedy has suited Steven because Steven is he's a funny character to watch. He's not
Yeah.
necessarily trying to be funny. He's witty at times, but like what he does is just very funny. His reactions to things and stuff like that. He's a very innocent type of character.
Apparently, in the
It's
comics, he was supposed to be a businessman like Bruce Wayne, but Oscar Isaac and the creative team said that it would be too much similar to that character because they already call
yeah,
him the White Batman, right? So
yeah.
that's why they changed it up, changed his character a bit.
I prefer that, and Mark is kind of maybe like Mark could be the Bruce Wayne type. You just don't get to see that side of him too much if
Yeah.
you wanted to really. But like so episode 4, the ending there was insane, where he's in the mental asylum,
Yeah.
and you're like, what is going on here? And then like, has this all been a lie? Because there's characters who popped up in episodes 1 to
I
4
thought they were
who were
in
in this mental
Xavier's
asylum.
hospital.
Yeah, that would have been a nice twist actually as well. And then the goldfish is there, the cube, the Rubik's cube is there, some other stuff
Yeah.
there too, and that's awesome. That was really shocking. And actually, I stopped myself, because heavy spoilers and these types of guys, they're great at what they do. And I watch 95% of their breakdowns and their stuff they go into, but they're actually going to talk about what happens in the comics. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to spoil it for myself.
Yeah.
I didn't know what exactly this was. So I wanted to wait for the next week's episode. And then the next week's episode didn't even reveal what actually is this either.
Yeah.
It just gets more and more complicated and unique in a way for the MCU. And I still don't know what it is, but it was entertaining. It was weird. It was interesting. But yeah, the
Oh,
ending
his
for episode 4
backstory was
like,
awesome. His
yeah,
childhood.
but like going into episode 5, that for me is something. Like I prefer darker comic book movies. Maybe I'm a sad guy, depressing guy. I don't know, but I like the light stuff
Me
too, of
too.
course. But like my favorite stuff is like the Zack Snyder stuff, or Logan, or X-Men 2, or Eternals. I like that because I thought it was very kind of dark in places as well. I like the Spider-Man Raimi trilogy because I think it's very dark in nature. It's also very kind of a lot of struggling, but you're coming out the other side of it. I like stuff like that. And Moon Knight for me, episode 5, I would put this as one of the best entries into the MCU that we've got.
Yeah.
I really would say that. I thought the episode was unexpected for an MCU. I was waiting for the joke. I was waiting for the one-liner, but no, it didn't come at all. It was it was brutal and it was hard to watch as well. And you're like, is this a Disney Plus show? Is this an MCU show? Because Mark, as a child, was beaten by his mother. His brother died, and he was
I
there. He couldn't
really
save him.
liked
His
that
brother
they didn't shy
remains
away from that, because usually in shows or
at
movies
all.
they don't show the mother to be the bad guy in the family. Shazam did that kinda, but this just went, all in with the visuals. So I
Yeah,
was actually shocked.
and it breaks him down
Yeah,
mentally, and that's what leads to him having these multiple personalities and creating Steven. And he wanted a relationship with his mother and his dad, but he just couldn't take it anymore, and he had to leave. He couldn't save his brother, and she blamed him, and she abused him, and like that's pretty that's dark for
yeah,
any movie, dark for the MCU, you know.
yeah,
And Oscar Isaac has just been just so entertaining to watch episodes 1 to 4, but episode 5 was hard to
yeah.
watch because of his acting, because of the way he portrayed the character. And I was like, you could see where it was going, but then you weren't sure it was going to go that far. The MCU, but it goes that far.
Do you
And
think do you think it heightened those scenes because we had another Oscar Isaac character, just watching this other guy, pitying him of what he's seeing and going through?
well, Mark had known about all of this. Steven didn't, so we
Yeah,
were in Steven's shoes. We were Steven in that
yeah,
episode, and I think I would say 99% of the people that watched this episode had a very similar reaction to Stephen did
yeah.
while witnessing all of this, you know. So I thought that was interesting in its own way for the series, and yeah, I wasn't expecting it at all. And you can understand why he is the way that he is, and how he's sick. The guy is sick. He's mentally ill.
Yeah.
You know, he is. And Mark is not well either. Steven's not well, and maybe there's a third character in there somewhere as well. And it's interesting because these episodes are like 40 to 45 minutes long. We have an episode left, but I've got so many questions, and that's where I'm kind of fearing the finale, because it has to tie up the gods type stuff. It has to Mark and Ethan Hawke's character, and yeah, I don't know if they can do it in the last episode. I hope they can. But Stephen is gone now. He sacrificed himself to save Mark. But how does Mark get out of this? Is the asylum real?
Yeah.
We still don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I'm definitely super hyped for it. I haven't been this excited for an MCU show since, the initial days of WandaVision when it was going. But I do feel that this show is even better than that. So yeah, I'm really hoping the finale nails it, and this could be just a perfect show. All right, so moving on to the Northman. Sadly, it still hasn't released here, and I haven't watched it yet. But you, the Viking, have seen the movie
Yeah.
and have seen yourself in it. Have you?
No, I didn't actually. Maybe I
Oh,
don't know. It's because the movie's very fast paced. Like I was there for some of the action sequences, and they're so fast paced and stuff.
next
Even though a
time you
lot of
should
them
just
weren't.
jump in front of the camera once by accident.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Um. Yeah, I didn't get to see myself, unfortunately, but I was very intrigued for this movie, not because I was a part of it in a way. I was an extra. I wasn't anything important, but the first trailer came out and it blew me away. It was really cool. This Viking revenge movie where Alexander Skarsgård's, that's his name, isn't it? Alexander Skarsgård.
Yes.
His character is on this revenge mission to kill the Viking that killed his dad, and his dad was the king of this group, the Viking group, and he had a settlement, and he was betrayed, and he was killed, and Alexander Skarsgård's character witnesses this as a child, and he says this kind of thing to himself: "I will avenge you, father. I will save you, mother. I will kill you." Whatever the character's name was, that killed his dad. And he keeps this with himself for, I'm guessing, maybe 20, 25 years. I'm not too sure, 30 years or whatever. And he has been a Viking, going all over the world, fighting in battles, ruthless, taking over communities, villages, and stuff like that, as Vikings do. And that look, the story is cool, the premise is cool, but everything outside of this movie is just impeccable. The visuals, the cinematography, some of the one shots, the score. By God, the score is so
Yep.
cool. It mixes in Norse mythology. Is it? They're Norse, aren't they,
Yes.
mythology? Thor, Odin, Beowulf, all these other sorts of stories are all mixed into this, intertwined, because the Vikings loved all that kind of stuff, and they believe that this is what they're doing is following in the footsteps of the gods, and the gods want this and all that kind of stuff. Anya Taylor-Joy is in it. She's fine. She's not given a lot to do, but she's fine. She's really good. Ethan Hawke is in the film for the first 15-20 minutes.
Nicole Kidman.
And Nicole Kidman's in it too. Really, really good movie. And it's a shame that not a lot of people are seeing it right now. I don't think it's doing that majorly well at the box office. I think it's made like $45-70 million budget. But I think this movie will be watched over time on streaming service and stuff like that. But it deserves to be seen on the big screen. I was just intertwined with this world. This just what I was witnessing on the screen was just fantastic to watch. I'm glad I can say I got to watch the Northman in a theater. I got to sit down, watch it on a big screen, because that's where you have to see this movie to fully engage with it, to fully appreciate what Robert Eggers did with this one. Some of the battles are so cool. My adrenaline was pumping throughout this movie. After the movie, I was like, wow, that was really, really cool. I want to go see this movie again. Some of the fight scenes are really, really cool. There's a really cool scene. It's in the trailer where the Vikings are coming across this settlement or this village, and they're going really slow, and they're spotted, and a spear is thrown towards the Vikings. And Alexander Skarsgård's character, in one motion, does like a twirl, but catches the spear and then comes around the other side and throws it back. That's in the trailer. That was cool. That whole scene. I think there was no cuts in that scene when I watched it. It was all one shot. Maybe might have been some stitches here and there, like stitching the scenes together, but it was all one shot, and that was cool. That was really cool. Alexander Skarsgård is huge in the movie. He is so muscular. He's intimidating. He's got long hair. He gets in these fights, and it's about him going across this journey to find the guy who killed his dad, and that's what his motivation is doing, throughout the film. And yeah, some of the shot in Ireland, some of the shots are really cool, and the visuals. I can't praise this movie enough. It's fantastic, and it's I wish it was a hit, because I don't know. I'd love to see maybe more. I suppose it doesn't need a sequel or anything like that, but I'd love to see more Viking movies from Robert Eggers, because this is probably one of the most honest Viking movies. Like, the show Vikings was okay, but this one really goes into the Vikings were brutal. They took over people, they killed, they did all the terrible stuff that they did and stuff like that. So this was brutal. It was a very honest portrayal in the way of the Vikings and what they did and who they were, from what we're told through stories.
I'm really glad to hear that, because that was one of the things that I was actually expecting, because it's a Robert Eggers movie, right? What he does best is just go. I don't think this will get a sequel, because I'm not sure if he's interested in sequels to his movies. But what he does best is, he dives deep into the lore of whatever he's making. For example, when The Witch came out, he fully, researched old England and the way they speak, the way they dress, the culture over there and all that, the language, and he incorporated every single thing of that into the movie. So when you watch a Robert Eggers movie, now I am able to say that because it's a thing now. When you watch a Robert Eggers movie, it feels like you are transported into that world, and it feels authentic. So that's one of the signatures of his, and he did that with The Witch. He did that with The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse is also a weird one, because it feels kind of fantastical. It feels fictional, not that realistic because of the stuff that happens in it. But everyone who has watched that movie, most people say that they probably didn't understand what was going on throughout the movie, but they loved it. So it's another one of his movies that you get transported into that world, and the language is different, the clothes are different, You just feel part of something different. So I'm glad that that has extended to this movie as well. And I just wish, the only wish was that I could see this in theaters because I missed the previous two in theaters. So I just, I'm disappointed that this movie is not coming to the theater, but I'm definitely gonna watch it as soon as it becomes available digitally. I'm a big Robert Eggers
Yeah,
fan, as you can say probably. I'm gonna watch literally anything he makes. Series, movies, anything. He's just amazing.
yeah, yeah. It's a really good one. And I actually liked how it mixed the Norse mythology in it because Thor is not Thor. Odin is mentioned a lot. Valkyrie is mentioned a lot, and like these Vikings, this is what they were told was like the gods and all that kind of stuff. And some of the characters have like visions of the god because like they're so intertwined with that kind of like that's their god. That's what they've been told. That's what they believe in, and this is why they think they're doing stuff like the fighting and their intentions and their revenge and stuff like that. So I liked how he mixed them together, but not in a way that you could say, "Oh, this is a grounded Vikings movie." It's just some of the characters kind of have
Yeah.
like their dreams and stuff like that are like of the
Yep.
gods. So I like that a lot as well.
He doesn't. Yeah, that happens in both The Witch as well as the Lighthouse. It's like they get visions, but you never, you're never explained why they are getting visions. It just happens, so you just deal with it,
Yeah.
which I love.
Yeah, William Dafoe's in this as well. He's a small role, but a weird role.
Nice.
He's actually a weird role as well. Um, but yeah, I can't praise this movie enough. I think it's one definitely to watch in some stage in theater. I prefer people to watch it in theaters, but if you can watch it at home, watch it at home. And yeah, it's really cool Viking movie. One of the best I think I've seen of the Viking era.
Cannot wait. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is Expendables 4. Sorry, I just skipped that one. That was supposed to be before Northman, but yeah, Expendables 4. All right, so we have a title reveal.
Yeah.
It's called Expend 4 Bulls, like fan for stick. And some of the cast members are not returning for this movie, and they are Chuck Norris, Bruce Willis, Arnold, Terry Crews, Mickey Rourke, Harrison Ford, Jet Li, Wesley Snipes, Kelsey Grammer, and Antonio Banderas. So all of these are not returning for the movie. Mind telling me why?
Yeah. Okay. So the first Expendables movie, probably some of the guys in the chat, the chat will know. I think 2010 or 2000 came out, and then the second one was like 2014, 2013. Some of the chat probably know it better. But yeah, the Expendables like was an interesting premise because the idea from Stallone, he directed the first one, was to bring back like the action stars of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 90s, and put them all into a movie together, which is awesome. That's pretty cool. And I didn't grow up watching like the big action stars, maybe Jason Segel and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of his movies younger and Stallone and Schwarzenegger. But then I appreciate the other action stars as I got older and started watching their movies. But yeah, so putting them all together into the one movie was like it's like, I don't know, maybe before like shared universes. It's like, say if Kevin Feige came out with Walter Hamada and said Batman, Superman, Captain America, Wonder Woman, Iron Man are all going to be in the one movie together with Toby and Andrew Garfield. It's kind of like that, only action movie stars. And that's cool. I remember renting the first movie, or actually I bought the first movie. I think it's here. I actually have the first two on DVD. The Expendables. You can see that, yeah.
Yep.
The Expendables. So yeah, I like this movie a lot. I like the second one a lot as well, and they're just a lot of fun. They're very funny as well
Yeah.
in places. There's pure action. You got a lot of movie stars, action movie stars who can barely move, but they're all on steroids and they all look huge. And they're all badasses holding big guns. So it's a lot of fun in that way. The stories, I probably can't even tell you the main plot for 1, 2, and 3. It's just action and one-liners and all these random stars showing up. The main kind of crew since Expendables 1 has been Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Terry Crews, Randy Couture, Dolph Lundgren, Jet Li. That's kind of
it's kind of like Suicide Squad.
Then, like they all, yeah, in a way, like it's just all this group, all these bad guys coming together, all these badass guys coming together. And then the second one, they're all in it as well. Mickey Rourke, he was one of the main ones, kind of like he was the main one, but he fell out with Stallone. I think he didn't come back for the second one. And then as the third one went on, like they bring in like Chuck Norris and Wesley Snipes and Harrison Ford and all these kind of characters. But like it was like a rotation thing. So like there was rumors for years that like, the next Expendables will have Hulk Hogan in it or The Rock will be in it. It's all about getting the big act. But first two came out, did pretty well at the box office, R rating. The third one came out and they changed it to a PG-13, which I don't know why they did it whatsoever. And Stallone,
I remember that.
It was a mistake. Yeah. It was a mistake to make it into PG-13. The third one came out in 2014. I think it was pirated as well. It leaked online, so that hurt it at the box office. So it was PG-13. It leaked. It didn't do as well at the box office. It did respectively well overall. The combined box office for the first 3 movies are over 800 million, nearly $1 billion franchise. And yeah, so the third one took a hit. It kind of stopped any plans for a fourth. And they come back. So this one's coming out now, and it's doing it because of budget reasons. Budget reasons, I'd say, because Arnold Schwarzenegger was in a Bruce Willis salaries, and now they're not. The only big stars in this are Stallone, Jason Statham, Dolph Lundgren's back, Randy Couture, and they've got rid of all the other guys, and and Megan Fox.
Yeah.
So, and it when this was revealed, it felt like it was a B movie. It felt like, is this going to be bad? Is this going to be low budget? Is it going to be directed badly? Is the cast poor? Like, how is this going to work? And through production, we heard that Stallone only shot for a little bit of the movie, and he didn't do the entire production. And he said he's retired from the franchise now as well. So he's not going to be in the entire movie, which is a shame. So I'm going into this movie thinking, I have high hopes that it might be good, because I have a friend who worked on the production of the movie, and he said that the motivation for the Expendables 4 was to make up for the third one. That was the motivation from the crew and the cast, to make a better movie than the third one, to make up for that one, because that's not how they wanted to finish the trilogy. So nice. I hope that's a good sign to me. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
And what they were saying as well is that this one is more Jason Statham. He's the main star in this one. He's kind of the leader of the Expendables, and they were going to title it The Expendables: A Christmas Story, because his character is nicknamed. They all have nicknames. They don't use their real names. His name is Christmas, so it's going to be called The Expendables: A Christmas Story or something like that. The Expendables: Christmas Story, but it's called Expendables 4, which I think is the better title for it. Anyway.
Yeah.
And Megan Fox, okay, I'm sure she'll be fine. 50 Cent, I'm sure they'll be fine.
Dude, 50 Cent is awesome. Like, he was in his own movie. I think it was called Bulletproof or something. But no, it was called Get Rich or Die Trying. He was pretty good.
Yeah, and like
in this type of movie, obviously he will shine.
Yeah, like I wish they had like Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis back, all those big action stars. But obviously, they want to try and make some money with this one. They can't afford. And in a way, it may make them concentrate on the story a little bit more, because you're not trying to put in, we need this guy to come in for a cameo, because that's what the other ones are about. Hopefully, this one's more story oriented. I hope it's a lot of fun. I have hopes that it will be good and make up for the third one. I still like the third one, but it's not as good because it was PG-13. And what they did was weird. They brought in Ronda Rousey, and they were trying to do this next generation of action stars, but nobody knew. They weren't as big as the OGs, and nobody cared for them. So that's probably what killed that. And I didn't read that at all. Kind of sidelined the main guys that you came to see. But I have hopes for this one. 50 Cent and Megan Fox's weird additions, considering the past additions.
Yep.
But I have hope, since my friend told me that the motivation for this one was to make a really good Expendables movie and make up for the bad third one. gives me hope for this one. So I'm looking forward to it. No release date yet. It's coming out sometime this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if it hits streaming and theaters or something like that, or something like. I wouldn't be surprised because I don't know if it's going to do well at the box office, but an $800 million backup, like that's good. That's really good for a trilogy. Over 800 million. So like, if this movie needs to make 200 million, and it's $1 billion franchise, so. Let's see.
Yeah, and Rokan here with the facts. He says, I know Cruise isn't coming back because he outed a famous producer during the Me Too era, and a producer from Expendables told him to shut up, and he refused. So he vowed to not do 4. That's cool.
All right. Okay. Yeah. He did. I remember him. He was calling people out. I didn't know that exact story though. Yeah. He also said that Jackie Chan was offered a cameo. Yeah, Jackie Chan. Yeah, he was supposed to be in one of the movies, but he wanted to be like a main star. But they couldn't fit him in or something like that, so he never come back. Jet Li was in the first 2. He was in the third one for like a few minutes, I think, and then he dropped out. Maybe he wasn't in the third one at all. Like, see, it's hard to remember what storylines were in each movie because they're all. Like,
but Jet Li isn't coming back, so he must be in one of his movies.
It's only Stallone, Jason Statham, Randy Couture, Dolph Lundgren are the only originals coming back for this one.
Damn.
And Stallone only has a small role.
Damn.
So. And the guy, what's the guy in Batgirl? He was also in Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Jacob Scipio.
He is in this one as well.
Cool.
So that could be interesting. But yeah, I'm actually, this is one of the most anticipated movies of the year. Hopefully it's good. I have hopes for it.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is, I don't know if it's a sad news or a good news, but Tom Holland's Spider-Man trilogy director, Jon Watts, exits as director on Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot. He wants to take a break from superheroes after completing his Spider-Man trilogy, which 99% is probably bullshit, but I'm neither happy nor disappointed at this because I didn't feel that he was the right choice for this movie anyway. But after seeing No Way Home, I was kind of hoping that, I was kind of okay with that because he did a pretty good job in No Way Home, and I was actually looking forward to him directing this movie. But him leaving doesn't disappoint me. I'm sure there are way better directors they can get, and I'm sure, and I'm definitely sure that this is not the reason why he exited the movie, just like Scott Derrickson exited Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, look, like Jon Watts, I no offense to him as a director, but I don't think we're losing anything major with him not doing this one. Maybe he would have made an unbelievable movie, but like when this was announced, I was like, I'm not too sure. But then I seen Spider-Man No Way Home, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But how much was that of him, or how much was Kevin Feige? You know what I mean? Because that was a very important movie. It's interesting that he has dropped out. He's exited after, he said, because he was tired. Like, I don't know if I buy that. Like, the money is good, obviously.
Yeah.
3 Spider-Man
I'm just gonna go home and I don't need more money. Why would I do another movie? I'll just take a break. What?
Yeah. Like his reward, it sounded like maybe he compromised so much on Spider-Man No Way Home that his reward was Fantastic Four, and now he's not gotten that. I don't know what the story is whatsoever, but like, yeah, I think there is hundreds of directors that could have made a movie like Jon Watts.
Yes.
And I hope they go out there and get somebody who is unique in their director's approach. Maybe Sam Raimi, I don't know, because we're hearing that maybe he had some uphill battles doing.
I mean, that was expected. Like,
he might not want to come.
Whoever the director is, even if it's Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan, they will have to, make some compromises because the MCU is run by Kevin Feige. So what the stuff that needs to be told in a movie, that needs to be in there, whether the director likes it or not. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, we don't know who's going to be the cast members or anything like that, and we don't know what the story is or how they're going to be implemented. Maybe Doctor Strange will give us some insight to that. I don't know. But yeah, it's look. If I had never seen Spider-Man No Way Home, I would have said, yeah, I don't want good news. But after seeing Spider-Man No Way Home, he did I have to give him credit. He did a
Yep.
fantastic movie. He was respectful to the past iterations of the character of Spider-Man, the past fan bases as well.
Yep.
And for that, I appreciate that so much, because I was afraid going in that Toby wouldn't be presented in an amazing way, and he was.
Yeah. Both of them weren't jobbed.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, I've watched it happen to characters I loved in other medias, and coming back, and yeah. So look, the talk is he'll do Spider-Man 4, but that hasn't been confirmed at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't do Spider-Man 4 either. I wouldn't be surprised, you know. So yeah, it's interesting, but I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if Doctor Strange does well. I could see Sam Raimi being announced.
Yeah, I do feel that is probably one of the biggest reasons why you would, you know, saying fire is probably too harsh, but let go a director like Jon Watts, who actually made a trilogy with you and made so much money for you, even with probably the worst Spider-Man movie, Far From Home, making $1 billion. So at least he is a resourceful director for the MCU, right? So letting him go from a Fantastic Four movie would probably be there probably needs to be a very good reason for that. And I feel like after working with Sam Raimi on Doctor Strange, maybe Feige just said, "Hey, would you like to, you know, let replace another director in one of our movies?"
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Jon Watts, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony got him for one of the villain movies.
Kraven?
They're thinking, oh, this guy made a lot of money with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, it's will live. I don't think it's a major loss. No disrespect to Jon Watts. It's going to be Marvelized. It's going to be MCUized anyway. So, does the director matter that much?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And when it was first announced, I was kind of hoping that, you know, the Ant-Man director takes that role, because his sensibilities is more towards, you know, the family and, you know, that type of thing. So that would probably fit Fantastic Four more. But I don't know if it's free now. Maybe he'll do it.
I don't know if I want.
I don't want him, but if it's from any available directors, that might be their pick. But if they are getting Sam Raimi, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Imagine what he will do with those characters.
Give it Chloe Zhao.
Yeah, I don't think he'll hire Chloe Zhao again. Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the Nick Cage movie, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Okay, so this movie I did a double feature with this and Sonic 2, which we'll talk about next. But look, I don't think I have watched many Nick Cage movies. I've only seen Ghost Rider 1 and 2, and I've seen the movie Color Out of Space, which was fantastic. I have been meaning to see Mandy, but I haven't seen that. But apart from that,
that's really good.
Yeah, and it's something I would like as well, so I'm going to check that one out. But I haven't seen any of the previous movies that he did. So I have no basis for this legendary Nick Cage, but apart from that part, I really liked the movie a lot. I thought the story was pretty well done. The concept itself is pretty interesting, and I feel like there's a special kind of feeling to this movie because of Nick Cage. He was pretty good. I think that he's a pretty good actor. I feel like, oh, sorry, yes, Rokan, yes, I've seen Kick-Ass. Yes, Kick-Ass, he was bad guy in that, right? So yeah, I've seen Kick-Ass. Yeah, so I haven't seen any of his other dramatic roles, is what I'm saying. But yeah, this movie was pretty fantastic. Pedro Pascal was amazing in this movie. He just stole the show. The story was pretty, the dynamic between these two characters was amazing. And the way they were trying to make, a script, a movie, it felt like that was the movie that we were actually watching. So that was also pretty interesting to see. I loved how that all came out. Tiffany Haddish, and I forget the other guy's name. Um, he's also in here from the after party. So that duo is also, I liked seeing both of them again. There's also Neil Patrick Harris, but he has a very small role, so I didn't feel like that was that big. But apart from that, I loved this movie a lot. It was funny, it was charming, it was emotional. The action was pretty good. The ending was solid. The actors' performances all were good. My favorite definitely is Pedro. His, the way he was talking, the way he was interacting with Nick Cage was so awesome to see. I just loved it. What do you think?
We're living in the meta
Yes.
era. Scream, Matrix. I'm missing a
This
few
movie
others
should
now,
have
but
come
they're
out
all
in
good.
December.
Yeah, it's very self-aware. Nick Cage. Nick Cage is just kind of one of those characters he's a character, and it's like Bill Murray and Jared Leto. They all have stories to them, and they're all have like nearly like a cult like following in a way. And like Nicolas Cage has done all these low budget kind of direct DVDs, direct to streaming movies. Be interesting and good in a way because his performances are interesting and good and weird. And Mandy is one of those movies. Pig is one of those movies.
Oh, I still have to
Will,
watch Pig as well.
Willy's Wonderland is a really good one. I don't think he has any dialogue in the movie, or maybe just one line. And he goes to this, it's like Five Nights at Freddy's. He goes to clean out this amusement park, and all the animatronics come to life, and he has to fight them. That's a weird one, but it's good. But this one was, it's look, Nicolas Cage is in this. It's kind of like it's a version of Nicolas Cage. It's not like a
Yeah.
biopic or anything, but his career isn't going the way he wants. He's not getting the roles he wants. He wants this great actor, and then he gets an offer to go to a birthday party. Pedro Pascal's character, and he doesn't want to take it. Then he loses out in a big role. His relationship with his daughter is fading, so he takes it because he needs the money. He goes there, and he wants to get in and out and do the job. But then the FBI come to him and say that Pedro Pascal's character is like a big, like a drug lord, um, and they want him to kind of go undercover, and there's a bit of mystery to it as well. They want him to kind of figure it out, and but then he starts kind of gaining a friendship with Pedro Pascal's character, and the two characters do stuff together, and the movie is so. I don't know if this is probably is a spoiler movie, but it's like it's so self-aware in the movie that the movie is they're talking about the
Yeah.
movie that we're seeing. So that was interesting. And yeah, the action I wasn't expecting to have like awesome action and stuff. It must have been a highly
Yeah.
budgeted movie because they put a lot of effort into it. And they could have went too meta. They could have had like loads of cameos and stuff, but I'm glad they didn't. They kept it the Nick
Yeah.
Cage universe, all his movies.
I actually
And
was kind of hoping
this
that in one scene at least, Ghost Rider pops up. But if that would probably be, too high budget for this or too weird for this. I don't know. But I was actually expecting that in one of this avatars in one of his visions, who would see that. Or maybe it also has to do with rights
yeah,
from
that would have
Marvel.
been cooler. Yeah, they probably wanted to keep it. They could they would have had to get a
Yeah.
license and stuff like that. Yeah, it would have been a lot of money. But what I liked was like an imaginary friend version of himself. Nicky Cage, who's like this ego. He's this is a version of Nick Cage who thinks he's great, and I don't know how you would describe
He's
it, but
really
he
confident.
sees this really like Nicky Cage is like he would be able to remind Nicolas Cage that we're actors, we do real movies. We don't do TV. We don't do we're actors and stuff like that. And it's like a younger version of I like. What did they do there? Was it actually him? Just shave? He just shaved and stuff like
I
that.
think so. I think it was a mix of that. I don't think they did deep fake. I think they just shaved him and de-aged him a little bit. I don't think it's a full, deep fake.
Yeah, that was funny. I wish he was in it more. Went further with it. But
Yeah.
they could have went further with all of it, but they kept it more to the story based.
I thought they would do that thing, like, every character he ever played popped up in some of the visions, but I feel like that would probably be too costly because of rights and stuff.
Yeah, then you probably go too far into it, like you get maybe it takes away from the story too much if you had that every 2 seconds as well. But like there is lots of nods to his other movies. I think Pedro Pascal has like a museum of Nicolas Cage movies, which is the guns. Like I've seen a lot. I've seen Face Off. You ever seen Face Off?
No, I haven't seen that as well.
Oh, that's like one of those. They're talking about making a sequel.
Yeah.
Hope to do. Con Air was actually referencing it as well a lot. But I would have liked to see maybe him as Superman, but that probably would have been a lot of money too.
Hey, that's probably gonna happen in another movie that's coming up.
I hope so. That'd be cool. But no, but this I wasn't expecting the movie to be as good as it was and to be.
Dude,
as
I actually didn't think that would have a story, and it did. If you take out Nicolas Cage from this movie, you'd still have a great movie here because of the story. So I just loved it.
What? They had Paddington 2.
Yes. Yeah. They were watching he was asking about, what are your top 3 movies that you consider cinema, because, obviously Nick Cage is an actor, so he wants to he has a daughter, right? By the way, is that his real daughter?
No, he doesn't have a daughter in real life.
Oh, okay. Because they looked very similar, so I was thinking she was actually.
Like it's Nick Cage, but it's not like exactly Nick Cage's real life. It's just dramatized.
So yeah, I feel like that was pretty funny because he's like this. He kept going back to this one old movie that is black and white and stuff, and he was making his daughter watch that, who obviously wasn't interested in that movie because she's way too young. So she was, there was some differences between Nick Cage and his family because of stuff like that. So that was also a pretty good arc to see him, them getting together and compromising and understanding each other well. So I loved that as well. But he asks Pedro his top 3 movies, and he lists 2 movies, and then the third one he says Paddington 2, and Nick Cage is like, what? Paddington 2? You're jumping from this cinema to this random bear movie for kids. And then he saw the movie and he started crying, which actually what happens when you watch Paddington 2.
That was really good. And I liked like the movie, it had a good story to it. It was also grounded in a way as well, because as we said, it could have went completely. It went to different artists, movies, cameos from Hollywood and stuff like that. But I'm glad it did.
Yeah.
Because the story was good, and you're kind of invested in the story, and it's not like it's not an over the top comedy either. It's actually just a really good story. I actually think I'll buy this movie on Blu-ray just to watch it again. I think it's one of those ones I'd actually sit down and watch, or go through the extras of it as well, the special features. That would be interesting.
I'm curious to see how they did that Nicky Cage thing.
Yeah. Did you see the scene?
Which one?
There's a little scene where they're like in the pool together, and Pedro Pascal is trying to, say a famous line of Nick Cage's, and he can't get it right because of the accent.
I haven't seen that.
And Nicolas Cage is, I just seen it on TikTok. Nicolas Cage is trying to teach him how to say it. It's like, and that's very funny. But
so it's during that scene where they were in the pool together?
Yeah, it's like an extended version of that.
Oh, cool.
It just was cut out. But Yeah, I think Pedro Pascal played he played a very
Yeah.
good character as well. He was obsessed with Nicolas Cage. He loves Nicolas Cage, and I love the part where Nicolas Cage first comes to the island. He's Pedro Pascal's like he's like yeah, oh, I'm nervous. He's here and stuff, and like he's like because he has a movie idea. He's written
Yeah.
a screenplay, and he's like
And that screenplay is shit.
I don't know if he's read or not. I don't really want to. Yeah, I don't really want to ask him about it. So it's yeah, I laughed out loud a few times. I thought the two of them like deadpanned it as well a lot of the time, like and it was hilarious. It was just really funny to watch.
Yeah.
And the other really got me was at the start of the movie. Was that a famous director that was at the start of the movie? Well, Nicolas Cage he's having a meeting with a movie director.
I think so. Yeah, that was funny as well. And then he never called.
But like he's trying to get this big movie role, and the guy Nicolas Cage is like, "Do you want me to read for you?" And he's like, "No, it's okay. I don't need you to read. You're Nicolas Cage. You don't have to read." He's like, "Yeah, anyway." And he starts to go on a monologue, and he goes completely over the top of the Cage style, and the director's like, "Oh, wow." And then Nicolas Cage is like, "It's good, isn't it?" Nicolas Cage is all completely over the top. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that was really good.
Gone?
I would definitely recommend this movie to everyone. Like, go watch it in theaters. It's really funny. It's a very fun time in the movies. The action is pretty good. The performances are good. The story is pretty good. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you to check it out. And it's very emotional as well. The ending was pretty good. So I feel like most people will love this movie.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
like I said, I did a double feature with Sonic 2. Look, the first movie it kind of came out of nowhere, and there was this whole character design fiasco, and the studio changed the design, and everyone was happy. So the first movie came out, and people loved it. Even I really, really enjoyed it more than I actually thought I would. I just thought it was a very small, charming movie with a very modernized version of a character. The best thing they did was to modernize him, was to make him relevant character to the modern superheroes. So him making references to DC, MCU, other popular movies, stuff like that. I think that brings in a lot of audiences to like him. So I think that was a pretty genius move. And Sonic is not, he's not like one of the top most, bankable franchises in the world, but he's a pretty popular character. Like, most people know what Sonic is, even if they never played the games. They know the character's design and the look of it and all that, right? So making that first movie, especially when a lot of video game movies just fail, making that first movie work was so important, and they did that. So they even changed the character design, which actually probably added a lot to that, because let's face it, the new design is better. So I just really liked the first movie because it was very small and charming. So I didn't think that I didn't think that the sequel would never happen. It was a guarantee that a sequel was happening. So when the sequel just now came out, most people love it. Surprise, surprise. It's even better and bigger. So I feel like they improved a lot. I just love this movie a lot. I'm probably gonna watch it more times as well. I thought that whatever worked in the first movie, they just amplified it even more in this, and that's pretty good. I felt like they were all very confident in what they were making here, and they knew what the audiences love, what works, and they really worked. That really worked for them. So I feel like this is a really, really enjoyable, great movie that you should definitely check out in theaters as well, because the visuals, dude. I feel like this movie just added to everything the first movie was, and it made it significantly better. Even though I really like the first movie a lot. So it's just a home run for me. This franchise just keeps going. There's a Knuckles spin-off coming. He
Yeah,
was good as well, and there's a sequel already announced. So to no one's surprise, there was a tease at the end, and we probably know everybody can everybody who knows Sonic can guess what this tease was. But they showed it, and that's probably what's the third movie gonna be about. And I'm here for it. I love this movie. I had a really fun night. I watched it with Noman. Sonic 2 and Unbearable Weight, both back to back. It was just an awesome day.
nice. I haven't seen it yet, unfortunately, because April has been packed with movies and
Yes.
TV and time, money, all that kind of stuff. And look, I hope to see it in theaters, but if I don't, I'll wait for it to come out on PVOD or on streaming. The second it comes out. I love the first one. Jim Carrey, huge fan of him, and yeah, just too many stuff came out at the one time for me to check it out. But I love the first one. I checked it out opening night back in 2019, I think it was 2020,
Yeah.
and loved it so much.
Yeah.
Couldn't wait for the sequel. I've heard nothing but good things about the sequel. And what happened was, like, the first one did pretty well at the box office just before the pandemic kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
I think the where it kind of gathered a fan base was like on streaming, because people needed stuff to watch that was on Netflix or whatever. Kids, watched it as well, and that's where I think the audience grew for this. And the second
Yeah.
one's been a massive hit. I think it's the
Dude,
biggest
I
video game
heard
movie.
cheers in the theater from kids, like a
Nice.
lot, and I was like, "Oh shit, they're cheering like for an MCU movie." Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of those
So
moments
the
were in the movie, so I was really cool.
franchise is big. Jim Carrey, another massive movie again, even at his age, for somebody who's like, because comedy movies don't do well anymore, really, at the box office in a way.
Yeah,
They're kind of shaped into Marvel movies, or animated movies. But yeah, it's cool, and this is a big franchise. It's going to go on and go on and go on. Third movie coming probably in 2 years, if they get everything right. And Knuckles spin off, and they'll probably have more spin offs as well, because the universe is just, there's a demand for it there. Kids love it, audiences, adults seem to love it as well. So that's good. That's awesome to see. And yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out. Hopefully, I can see it in theaters. But if not, I'll day one digital. I'll definitely be watching it.
nice. All right, Fear Jason says seen Sonic 2 3 times. Yeah, man, it's really really good. Like it also has that rewatchability factor to it, so I'm sure a lot of kids and parents are going back to watch this. And Rokon is saying, it's crazy to me how it took till Sonic to break the video game movie curse. Yeah, I would. Anytime people say this, I just, go back to the first Hitman movie. I know a lot of people don't consider that into the video game category, but I just thought that was a perfect adaptation for the game because I'm such a huge fan of the game. I thought that was pretty well made, but it's a long time ago. I can understand. The second movie just was terrible. So yeah, it went backwards. They did a reboot for that, but yeah, Sonic is pretty good. Detective Pikachu was also good. I thought that was done well, but I think they fumbled the bag by not having it be the main Pokemon movie franchise with Ash and Pikachu and all that. So
Yeah.
maybe that would have been better received, but probably they will make a sequel to that movie. It did pretty well. It did okay. And the movie was also pretty good. I'm not a Pokemon fan, so I don't know. Um,
Grew up on Pokemon. Watched it
did
religiously.
you like that?
I I didn't see the movie. I didn't see the
Oh,
movie, and I was a huge fan. And I don't know. Like, it's just kind of, I don't know why. I don't know why. I,
it's pretty
I
good.
should have. I watched it when I was a kid. Maybe it was missing that big movie star to be in it as well. Jim Carrey really
Yeah,
helps this one out a
but
bit.
Ryan Reynolds is the voice.
Yeah, maybe he should have been the live action character
Yeah,
instead of the voice.
but yeah, check that one out. But Sonic definitely is. It feels like this one is the definitive one that breaks that curse because you have like when you have the first movie perform so well that you make a sequel, you announce a spin-off and a sequel to that movie before it even came out. That just tells us that the the creators are too confident in this franchise to continue, and absolutely they should, because the second movie was even better. So I feel like this is definitely gonna this is definitely going in a good direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and there are far less references to Flash than I was expecting in this one. But yeah. All right, so moving on to the next topic, which is Ghostbusters no, not Afterlife, the fourth movie, right?
Yeah, Ghost was the third one, so it's getting a sequel.
Okay, yeah. So the Ghostbusters Afterlife is getting a sequel. The fourth movie is coming out, is announced, and at CinemaCon, which we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, Sony ain't afraid of no ghosts. Specifically making more Ghostbusters movies, the studio announced today at CinemaCon in a closing sizzle reel that a fifth movie is in the series is in the works. Okay, so this is the fifth movie.
Well, I don't count the female one.
Oh, they're counting that one. Yeah. No.
They're probably just doing that for like perception,
Yeah.
not to get blowback.
No talent attachments were revealed. Yeah, of course. I think it's too early for that, I guess, right? The latest movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife, centers around the grandkids of Dr. Egon Spengler and was directed by Jason Reitman. It minted $129.3 million at the domestic box office and $197.3 million worldwide. After a Thanksgiving release, taking the franchise's global worth to $938.2 million, which is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked the. Not a huge Ghostbusters fan, but I liked the movies, and I checked out this one, and it was very respectful to the original fans, the original actors, and newer fans as well, because it had a good mixture. It had young kids who were discovering ghosts and the equipment that the original Ghostbusters used, and the original crew showed up, and of course one of the actors had passed away, Harold Ramis, and he was a huge part of the story. His grandchildren are a big part of the story, and you have to watch the movie to see how they present that. But it was really well done and very emotional, especially the third act. I will say that I've said this before, when you're bringing back a franchise that was loved, it's you want to make a great movie, but you can't take too many risks. It's better off to play it safe in the first one, because you want to gain that fan base back, because a lot of the fan base was pissed off and upset because of Ghostbusters, which is a bad movie in my opinion and is disrespectful to the original fans and to the fans who wanted a sequel. And this one is the opposite of that. It's not disrespectful and it's very good. It's safe. It's more like the first Ghostbusters movie than a brand new thing. Even the third act is very, very similar to the third act of the original Ghostbusters, which I don't mind in a way, because it's what's the word? It's fan service. Fan service is good, no problem whatsoever. And I understand why they did it in this one. And Jason Reitman directed this one. His dad directed the original two. Ivan Reitman, who sadly passed away recently. So it had a lot going for it and very respectful in all accounts. So a sequel was obviously going to be happening, because this movie was such a big hit during the pandemic. So I'm looking forward to the next Ghostbusters 1. I don't know if the original crew will come back more into it this time around, have bigger roles, but the kids were very likable and they did an awesome job. Paul Rudd was pretty entertaining as well. So it did everything right, in my opinion, that the female Ghostbusters movie did not. So I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters 4, not 5. It's 4.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is Venom 3. Finally announced. I didn't think this would happen, but finally announced Venom 3 at CinemaCon, and I'm actually really excited for it.
Yeah, what's
Your voice is breaking.
you love those movies, so yeah.
What?
Well,
Yeah.
love those movies, don't you?
I really like the first one a lot.
Okay now?
Yes, it's fine now.
Is it okay now?
It's still kind of breaking, but yeah, I did like the first one a lot. The second one was
You love the.
yeah. The second one was good, but I didn't like it better than the first one. So Overall, I would say that I do like this franchise, and I will be watching the third one. Obviously, I just hope that they get some other director. I don't want Andy Serkis back. I don't want the same writer back. I just, hope that they either get the first director back or someone else. But I would actually prefer someone else because I want to see a different tone than the first two movies.
Yeah, I don't know what my video was jumping in the live stream. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Yeah, I like the two movies. Andy Serkis did a okay job with the second one. I thought it felt more like a marathon than a movie. It was very fast paced, very rushed.
Sprint.
Yeah, sprint. Oh yeah, a sprint. Sorry, not a marathon. A sprint. It was like Woody Harrelson's character interesting, but they're just completely just in and
It was
out.
too
That's all it
fast.
was
Yeah.
really. So yeah, I thought it had some fun moments. First one I think was a better overall kind of story by Ruben Fleischer, which I would have brought him back for the second one because I thought the first one I think he deserved to be brought back for the second one because the first one was such a big hit.
Yep.
But of course he made a big hit in Uncharted, which is doing still numbers at the box office. Yeah, Andy Serkis. I was expecting more from him, but maybe he can do better in a second one. I don't know, but yeah, I would like to see a different director tackle it. Give it to someone else. But this franchise is loved. It has a huge fan base. Makes a lot of money, for Spider. And I think I think Spider-Man 3 is a help to that as well because that character appeared in a massive movie.
Yeah.
Morbius, Kraven the Hunter, Madam Web. These characters have not. This is their first introduction. So they're going to have an uphill battle in a way because it's not the MCU. It doesn't have Spider-Man, and the audiences doesn't know about the characters.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a big difference with it all. And Tom Hardy is really liked, and he's made the character his own, and it's very funny. So, yeah, third movie was expected. It's going to be interesting to see who's directing it, who's the villain is, what's the story. Is there going to be a Spider-Man implemented into it? Looks like Tom Hardy won't be in the MCU, but a version of his symbiote, whatever it is called, will be, which is Kevin Feige just stealing Venom and putting them in the MCU. Which I don't know how Sony felt for that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, of course, I think the movies are fine. They're fun watches and stuff like that. Not anything too deep. I thought Venom 1 would be much darker than it was, but I was kind of disappointed at that.
Yeah. Maybe the third one will be now. At least I hope so. Well, so let's move on to the
Maybe. Go.
yeah. Let's move on to Aaron Taylor Johnson's movie Kraven the Hunter. And there are some set pics that dropped, and he looks jacked as fuck. He looks really good. Definitely better than he looked as Quicksilver in the MCU, but he looks really, really good here. And these set pictures are something that dropped out of nowhere, but he looks fantastic. I actually think this movie will be better than Morbius. Is that safe to say? Is that safe to say that this movie will be better than Morbius? Well, I think that Morbius was. I don't think Morbius was complete shit, but I think it was something that needed improvement. Maybe, maybe it was chopped down in editing. We saw someone say that it was very cut down. And a lot of the detective who was in the movie, he said that the movie was edited a lot. So, yeah, it feels like they should not repeat that mistake again with Kraven. So I hope that the Kraven movie just remains intact and not get edited down. So yeah, Mar, do you feel that it's safe to say that we we can expect a better movie than Morbius for this?
Morbius. He said that he doesn't think Morbius is a bad movie. It was just edited too much.
Yeah.
And he thinks there's a really good movie there somewhere. Like it's hard to know with Sony. Like they've messed with Sam Raimi, they've messed with Mark Webb. You know, they've messed with a lot of directors.
They had this movie in there for like 2 years.
Yeah, and they just kept changing it and changing it and changing it. And maybe it would have been a better movie if it came out 2 years ago. But Kraven the Hunter, Pat Johnson got this role was because of his performance in Bullet Train, which is coming out later this summer. And then he does look cool in the trailers there. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know, man. I don't know anymore.
We can't say with Sony.
Yeah, we can't really say it. But he looks jacked, he looks cool. So, we'll give it a shot, of course. We'll give it a shot.
All right. So let's move on to the next topic, which is Johnny Depp. Okay, so let's get into this. Johnny Depp will not play Captain Jack Sparrow again. He was asked, if Disney came to you with $300 million and 1 million alpacas, nothing on this earth would get you to go back and work with Disney on a Pirates of the Caribbean film, correct? And he replied, that is true. So, can you explain what the beef is all about?
Well, there's the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial going on right now, and
oh really?
Obviously it's a big talking point online, all over social media. Yeah, so like he look, Amber Heard came out with allegations. Well, she made like an article. She didn't name him specifically, but she was in a marriage with him, divorced. So it was plain to be seen that she was talking about Johnny Depp. She was saying that she was in a toxic relationship. And it led to Johnny Depp losing the role of Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts franchise. It led to Disney cutting ties with him. And he lost the roles. And he's now fighting back to put some respect on his name and to get back to making movies, which he hasn't done in a while. And people want him to be recast back into the Harry Potter franchise, which I don't think will happen now. But people want him to come back as Jack Sparrow. And they're wondering why Amber Heard as Mera hasn't been recast when he was. And Johnny Depp's a great actor and all this kind of stuff. But could you imagine that, like, all these allegations come out? There's no proof for them. The people who employ you just fire you without any kind of real conversations about it. They just don't want the bad PR. They don't want to stand by you at all. They fire you just like that. And then the other studio, Warner Brothers, does the exact same thing. I could see Johnny Depp when he makes his comeback, not to do big franchise movies again, not to work with the big studios, to do maybe low budget stuff, maybe indie type stuff, because like
streaming.
He was portrayed in a way, because like they just threw him to the side, and this character that's loved by so many people around the world, especially children, just won't happen anymore. I think that Margot Robbie was attached, Karen Gillan was attached for a female reboot version.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's not going to do well at all.
Yep.
At all. And like this case is huge. It's really, really big right now. And I could see Aquaman 2 getting some bad press for her being in it, Amber Heard. And I could see it not making $1 billion like the first one did. I could see it making much, much less, because we see a lot of stuff that the general audience don't care about a lot of this stuff. But I think this is an exception, because this is a lot bigger than, say, the random kind of celebrity is drug type thing.
Johnny Depp is way bigger than Amber Heard.
This is
and he has a huge fan base.
Yeah, it's huge. So I could see we'll talk about Amber Heard in a few minutes, but yeah, Johnny Depp, I think in a way is right not to go back to Disney or Warner Brothers, because they just threw him to the side. They believed her.
Yeah.
They, without any really proof or anything like that, he lost his roles. His name was done. He's in a defamation trial right now to get his name back. And yeah, it's a messy situation. So I don't blame the guy for not doing it. And yes, the money would be great and all that kind of stuff for his comeback. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's just because he would get what he's doing intentionally. But otherwise, maybe he's like, no, F this. What's the point? What's the point? They just wrote. They contributed to giving me a bad name. Amber Heard, of course, did. But so did these studios just fire him.
Yeah. But I'm not taking anyone's side, and I'm definitely not on Amber Heard's side. But to put a devil's advocate um, situation here. Do you think the studios were right to fire him? And do you think they were forced to fire him? Because obviously they are in a business, and if having him in a movie affects their business, then do you think that decision is easier for them? Because for Amber Heard, you have to see that she is not, this is not a trial between who is right and who is wrong. This is a trial of Johnny Cage, Johnny Depp, defending himself against the defamation. So even the trial, that the case that was in England, that was against the newspaper who called him a wife beater, right? So he was not fighting against Amber Heard even there. He was fighting against the newspaper's wrong use of the word, because that's adding to his defamation, which will affect his income and all that, his livelihood. So that's what he is fighting against, right? So when he is in these cases, and when Amber Heard is all that is happening, do you think it's right for the studios, not morally right, just from business point, do you think it's right for them to actually remove him? Do you think they should just ignore the noise and keep working with him? Do you think they reacted appropriately to the results of the cases?
Well, the one he lost, labeled him as a wife beater. He lost a case,
Yeah.
a legal case, like in the court of law. So I can understand that they probably thought, oh, this is going to get worse before it gets better. So that's maybe why.
But
That's what they reacted to it.
but he also didn't lose that. Look, the case for the UK one wasn't that he was proven to be a wife beater. The case was that calling him a wife beater
It
was
was okay.
actually making it worse for Johnny Depp or not, because he's already, related to that title, right? So the Sun newspaper calling him that, was that accurate or not? That was the trial. So they didn't prove that he was a wife beater. They just proved that um, using that term is not harming him more than it was already harming him. So it's not a proven thing that he did wrong things, from the court cases, I'm saying. So that's one thing to consider.
Yeah, yeah.
But he
I can
still
understand
lost.
what. Yeah, he lost it. Like if he had won it, maybe he wouldn't have been fired.
Yes.
And that's the reason Amber Heard probably wasn't fired, is because she didn't lose it.
Yes.
Like how could you, if Johnny Depp wins this one, she could get recast
Yes.
or cut out. So yeah, I think already she will be cut out. I think that's what they're trying to do,
Yeah.
because it's not good, and there's a lot of bad stuff coming out about her and the way she acted and stuff like that, and the allegations she threw towards Johnny Depp. A lot of them kind of been proven to be not accurate in a way, because a lot of people are backing up Johnny Depp more than her. I know it's Johnny Depp is calling a lot of these witnesses and stuff, but yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's
The one
I,
thing
I
that
don't see
puts
it.
Amber Heard in a bad position, according to me, is the recording of her speaking to Johnny Depp, saying that you can go out and tell in public, whatever you want. Let's see if they believe you. That one thing itself just
Not good.
destroys everything else she says.
Yeah, that's why I think there's gonna be a bad reception around Aquaman 2
Yeah.
if things get worse and worse here, because it is a big trial. A lot of people know about it, and she's in it, and she was a big part of the first movie. But yeah, I think Johnny Depp, he's just trying to get his name back. He's trying to he's been
Yeah.
building a case the last 4 or 5 years. He's a smart enough guy. His lawyers seem to be doing pretty good for him right now. But yeah, he was labelled like the UK trial. They made it okay. They said it was okay for him to be called a wife
Yeah.
beater. They didn't say there was accurate information that he was, but they said there's nothing wrong with saying it,
Right.
because yeah. But that's what kind of lost him the role, and it's disappointing in a way, because he's a great actor. I want to see him in movies, but yeah, I can see him standing up for himself, not wanting to do Disney movies anymore, or Warner Brothers movie. He might just do streaming work for Netflix, Apple TV, work with Tim Burton, people he trusts, people he knows, but not these big franchises, because they had contributed to it in a way.
Yeah.
But then again, they could come up, here's 50 million. Can we make a Pirates movie? And he could do it, and it would be a great comeback story. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And speaking of that, we have Amber Heard, who is probably, getting recast soon, but we have heard from Grace Randolph that her character has less than 10 minutes of screen time in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which is actually surprising to me, because I actually thought she would have a much bigger role in the second movie than the first. Because they're all going into this adventure and all that stuff. So I thought that she would be in there much longer, and maybe she was, and now they are cutting her down. But I feel that is actually an appropriate decision. Speaking strictly from a business perspective, if having someone in your movie is causing you to have less business and less profit, I feel like the studios, I won't blame them for removing or cutting down the roles of those talent. And a funny thing which I saw was that Aquaman and the Lost Audience is a hashtag that's trending.
Telling you, man, I think they're going to try and cut her out of this movie as much as they can. I think they're already prepared themselves for it.
Yeah.
I think they may have shot around her for the shooting of Aquaman. I think Jason Momoa, was he a writer for Aquaman 2 as well? I think he was involved in a way. So I could see them being prepared for this, because they knew the trial was coming up. They knew it was going to be before Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
And they couldn't fire her, because what ground do they have to fire her? Because she didn't lose the trial. Johnny Depp did. And, talk about the Me Too movement, you talk about women, being, of course you can encourage people coming out and talking about stuff that happened, and it's mostly women who come out talking about this stuff. And if a studio was to go against that, and it ended up being labeled, it could have went really wrong for Warner Brothers if they went against Amber Heard, because they didn't know what was right or wrong, so I can understand why they're very cautious of it, and the way they made the decision they did at the time, and why they're probably making the decision they're making yours, where she's got less than 10 minutes. There's not much. I would be surprised if it's less by the time the movie comes out, because it's not coming out until March 17th, 2023. That's a long time. They could actually bring in somebody else. They could just cut her completely out of the movie. So she could have a similar role as she did in Justice League, like the first version, or even just the pre-epilogue version.
Yeah, true. And I feel like they can easily recast her. I don't think her Mira is some iconic casting or something like that. As with Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman. I don't think she's a significant casting choice for that. Or Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. I don't think she's as big as that casting. So she's kind of replaceable, and I wouldn't mind seeing someone else. A lot of people are saying that Emilia Clarke should play that role, because they already have good chemistry. Yeah. So
what kind of chemistry?
Yeah.
That seems like the obvious casting. So it's like,
it is obvious. Yeah.
But I did a video on TikTok talking about Grace Randolph's tweet. And I asked people, it got 30,000 views, and I asked people.
You're a TikTok star now. You just put out anything and. Yeah.
Well, I've been doing a lot of videos there, but the Johnny Depp ones, because they seem to do pretty well. I'm not trying to do it like every single thing about the trial. I do it movie related, of course. Okay, I don't want to try and jump on the bandwagon of everything.
Yeah.
But one of the things I talked about Grace Randolph's tweet about the less than 10 minutes, and I asked the people, I was like, okay, so this may help you if she only has less than 10 minutes. So are you still going to boycott Aquaman 2, or will you watch it now because she's barely in the movie? And I had 400 comments, and basically I said 99% of them were, no, I'm not watching it because she's in it. Now, I don't know if people are telling the truth or not. Like, they might still check out the movie. People talk is talk. But it's not just my videos. I'm looking at all comment section. They are just not interested in the movie. They're completely with Johnny Depp. They're against Amber Heard. So I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to last over until, because it's a year to the movie, basically, nearly a year.
Yeah.
So, but
And this is also new
I don't know.
management, so they're not just gonna ignore this because they know this is an issue.
Yeah, it's a big one. I think it is a big one. It's bigger than Ezra's Miller one, I think.
Yes.
Um, it's more in the culture of media right now and social media and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see how this goes. And the
Yeah.
next topic is the Batman. Finally, a
I was going to switch over. I was going to switch over to my phone. So you do the intro. I'm going to switch over to my phone, my iPad.
Yeah, sure. So the next topic is the Batman, and the sequel is finally announced. Well, we know that this Batman movie came out. It did pretty well. Most people liked it. A lot of people didn't like it as well, but it did pretty well at the box office. It made close to $700 million worldwide, and the movie was good. If it was, it had some issues, I think, in the third act mainly, but for the most part, it was good. It was well made for sure. The music, the visuals, the storylines, and all that. It was pretty well written, well directed, and there's a feel of a new universe being created here, so that's also pretty good. There's a lot of planning going on in this, in this movie universe, so all of that lines up. So I was kind of shocked that they did not announce um, the sequel the very weekend of releasing this movie, but I actually wasn't that shocked as well because we know that the merger was happening, and when you greenlight a sequel and stuff like that, you have to sign contracts with the actors and when they're coming back and all that. So I was kind of expecting that they won't announce a sequel then. So they waited all this time, and at CinemaCon they finally announced a sequel. And now the Batman is returning for a sequel. Nobody knows who the main villain is or the story is gonna be, but Matt Reeves is gonna be returning. Robert Pattinson is gonna be returning, and the rest of the cast is also returning. So one thing I'm excited to see about this from the sequel is Barry Keoghan's Joker. So he's one of the things that I'm actually excited to see. I'm also excited to see Penguin. I feel like he was the best character in the Batman movie, and I'm actually looking forward to that more. But Robert Pattinson, I'm glad that this is doing well for him, and I'm glad that he's getting a sequel of his own. Um, and yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this. Mar, are you here? Give us a second, guys. I'll just get him back on, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Hey,
What's up? Are we still talking about Batman?
Yes, we are talking about Batman. And what do you think about the sequel announcement?
Look, like this movie did pretty well at the box office, considering people online. I just think it's a small fraction of people who say that it did bad at the box office. Look at the budget and look at the box office income. It did pretty well, and the HBO Max numbers were good as well. I think it's right up there near the top, or is it number one? Um, so like the movie was obviously liked by people. It was a different Batman movie. And I was going to get a sequel no matter what. And the Matt Reeves Batman verse is slowly building. The Penguin is shooting later this year. We have the Arkham Asylum show. He's going to get a Batman trilogy. So I was never in doubt that it was getting this, not getting the sequel. It was obviously going to get one. They were waiting for this CinemaCon, to show off. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it's the greatest Batman movie I've watched. It's different, but it's more of a story. It's more story based. It's not like action spectacle and story. It's very different from Batman v Superman. It's very different from The Dark Knight, but that's good. We don't want the same similar comic book movies. And I think you look at Batman Begins with Christian Bale. You look at Batman '89 with Tim Burton. They were getting used to the world, the character. I think in their sequels is where they really came to their vision of the character, and even better. I think Batman Returns is better than Batman '89. I think The Dark Knight is the best comic book movie of all time. So hopefully Batman 2 can be The Dark Knight or be the Batman Returns. And I think it will, because Matt Reeves will be more used to the character, the world. So will Pattinson, so will Kravitz, so will Colin Farrell. And maybe he'll get more freedom as well, because the first one did so well. So I think the possibilities for the sequel are even higher for it to be a better movie. And I hope it is a better movie. If it can be The Dark Knight of the Nolan trilogy, then hopefully that's a very high bar, but I just think they'll be more familiar with the story, and I think what Matt Reeves is building could be not just a singular story in terms of the first one was good. I think maybe all three of them together could be a great trilogy. So something that Zack Snyder didn't really get to finish with his overall arc, but he got to make 3 movies. Christopher Nolan got to make 3 movies. So let's see what Matt Reeves is building towards. He obviously has the backing from the studio, so I'm excited. I'll definitely be. I think Robert Pattinson did a fantastic job as Batman. And he did something that the other Batmans didn't really do. Was really he acted through the cowl for most of the movie, through his eyes, and that was very overwhelming at times because I wasn't used to it, from a live action Batman, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, let's see how this goes. I'm actually looking forward to it as well, and I hope I not just hope, I actually think that it will definitely be better than the first movie. Like you said, it's already established. They don't need to make any new new montages explaining stuff like that, so they can just get right into the story, and I'm really looking forward to that. All right, so let's move on to CinemaCon. So now from CinemaCon, obviously our favorite topic to see was the DC stuff, and starting with Aquaman, we have some descriptions from the trailer or footage that was shown at CinemaCon, so we will be reading that out. If you don't want any information to be known or any spoilers, you can mute for now or tune out now. Thank you for joining, but we'll be talking about some of those stuff here, and this is stuff that was shown to a lot of audience, the theatrical owners and all that, so it's not like leaks. It's just not something that was released to the general audience.
But it will be.
Yes, it will be. All right, so starting with Aquaman. Footage shown from Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom shows Arthur turning to Orm for help against Black Manta, who appears to be leading an army. This is awesome because obviously, Orm was awesome in the first movie, so was Black Manta. I know a lot of people thought that he was just shoehorned in and he was not good, which he probably was, but I still liked him as, a character that's just in the background, just causing, trouble for Aquaman. His suit is awesome. and I just cannot wait to see this movie because I loved the first movie. It was such a huge spectacle, and I just um I'm I'm actually hoping for this one to be even better because it's not Jeff Johns is not working on this, so it won't be kind of cheesy or stuff like that. That was some of the lines in the first movie were like that, but I don't think this movie will be like that. It would actually be a true James Wan movie because I don't think he's gonna do the third movie. He never does. He's always just two and done kind of person. So he already said, I think, in one of the interviews where he's not gonna be doing the third movie. So if this is his final Aquaman movie, I'm sure he'll put everything into it.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't kill off Orm Patrick Wilson in the first one. Thought he was a
Yeah,
really good villain. I like how the brothers have reconnected because their mom is still around, Nicole Kidman. And I thought Yahya Abdul-Mateen the second was really good as Black Manta in the first one. I liked his character a lot. Thought his arc was interesting at the start, where his dad died. Aquaman could have saved him, and he didn't. He chose not to, and his revenge path was set then to kill Aquaman because he didn't save his dad when he could have, because he's a superhero and he's supposed to. But yeah, I like how his technology is advancing. In this one, he's supposed to maybe have some magical powers, something like that. It helps him. So yeah, there was some cheesy moments in the first one. Some of the Pitbull ocean to ocean that shouldn't have been in it. Maybe if you're going to use a song, don't use that one. Use something different. Some of the dialogue, of course, a bit stupid, and maybe I did laugh at the Aquaman selfie thing with the guys in the bar. I did laugh, I have to admit. But I think if you cut out a lot of that stuff and keep what was great about the first one, plus maybe add a little bit more kind of nightmare to it, like the trench scene, which was just really visually
yeah,
fantastic to look at, and bring more of that James Wan nuance to it, and go maybe a little bit darker, a little bit more DC,
yeah.
and keep up, because you can't go completely in different directions. You can't come up with this one and make the Schindler's List of comfort movies.
Especially because the first movie made 1 billion, and that means that the audience actually wants this type of movie.
Yeah, so you have to keep a lot of that, but you can still add in little things here and there, and I hope they do that
Yeah,
because it made 1 billion. Audiences like it, so you can't change it that much. But I like how Aquaman and Orm are going to be working together, and I like that Black Manta will be more of the villain in this one. And of course, the title and the Lost Kingdom. Of course, we're going to find some kingdom as well, which is going to be interesting. Aquaman, maybe he's gonna have a stealth suit in this one. I'm not too gone on it right now from the first look at it, but could be better in the movie when you get to see it in action. And yeah, I'm wondering if Orm will be, if he will be, he'll obviously be maybe an anti-hero villain, but I'm wondering if he'll ever go back to being a full-time villain as it goes on. So I'm interested to see that. I think in one of the descriptions as well, he's standing in front of like a giant mechanic or mecha squid or something like that, octopus, which is interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Aquaman 2, of course. I really like the first one.
he's probably like Loki.
Yeah, yeah, probably something like that. I think Patrick Wilson can pull that off. I'll watch Patrick Wilson in absolutely
Yeah,
anything.
he's
He was brilliant
amazing.
in Watchmen. He was the president in Batman v Superman over the phone. His voice,
He's
but
awesome in the Conjuring franchise.
Conjuring, yeah, brilliant in that as well. So yeah, so look, and then there's of course the elephant in the room, which is Amber Heard as Mira, but she only has under 10 minutes of screen time. I don't think she's a must for the DC universe in
Yeah,
terms of, she was fine in the first movie. She was a love interest. We see a lot of comic book movies where the love interest doesn't return. We've seen it with Natalie Portman in Thor Ragnarok. Of course, she
she
comes back
has
from the
cool
wars.
powers.
She has
She,
cool powers, yeah.
yeah,
They
but
are.
not
I
needed.
actually, like, I'm not shitting on Amber Heard either. Like, is there a pun there? Sorry, had to. But I don't think Amber Heard is a terrible. People go to the extreme that Amber Heard is a terrible actress and stuff. I can't really say that. I've seen her and stuff. She's fine. She's an actor. She's a good-looking woman as well. She may be crazy. I don't know. But I did like her as Mira in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Really liked
Yeah,
her, and especially the nightmare scene. And her suit there was cool. And holding the
yeah,
trident, or whatever version of the trident was it?
yeah,
Yeah, it was cool, badass, and I would love to see her in Zack Snyder's Justice League too, because I like that version of the character. But in terms of the Aquaman version of the character, I don't think she's a must. I don't think she's going to be missed that much. And if she has only under 10 minutes of screen time, it could be the most important 10 minutes of screen time. We just don't know. So yeah, well, Aquaman 2 coming out March 17th, 2023. It's a long way away, but we will probably get to see this footage at this year's DC Fandom if they still have it.
Yeah, I hope so, because the previous DC Fandom footage that they showed had a lot of just behind the scenes stuff. They didn't show actual movie footage that much, so I'm actually looking forward to see the finished, footage from this movie. So moving on to Shazam: Fury of the Gods. All right, so this one is kind of interesting because I'm not the biggest fan of the first movie. I thought that it was good. It was okay. I feel like you can watch it once and enjoy it. Obviously, it's directed by David Sandberg, who I'm a huge fan of. He's making this one again, and I'm sure he has learned a lot from the first movie and will make a bigger and better movie this time around. Which that's one of the biggest. That's actually probably the biggest reason why I'm watching. Watching this movie because he's just awesome. But a trailer apparently was shown for this movie, and here's the description. Shazam is seen on a date with Wonder Woman in his dreams, and he turns into the wizard Shazam. So basically, there's a scene where he's on a date with Wonder Woman, they're talking, and apparently it's a dream, and it ends up, Wonder Woman turning into Shazam. In that scene, it's not Gal Gadot. But if you know where to look, there are some leaks out from this movie already. So if you're interested, go check them out. The second thing is Daughters of Atlas are the villains. Yes, this was revealed. Dragons are in this movie, which is cool. Yeah. Obviously, David Sandberg is a huge fan of that, so he's probably, incorporating that. We also saw some concept art from the DC Fandom footage, so they were in there. And Levi versus Helen Mirren. Obviously, she's the villain, so that's a given. Shazam is a Fast and Furious fan. That's one of the unexpected and funny things to me because it's very timely. Fast 10 was just in the news recently.
Yeah. Well, one of the writers in the in the Fast franchise of this movie.
Oh, really?
And Helen Mirren is a part of the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah.
So
there's a connection.
Bit of meta stuff going on there.
Yeah, it's interesting. What do you think of the description as a whole?
I'll just start off the negative. I don't mind Wonder Woman being in it, but I don't like that it's not Gal Gadot. We've talked about this before. Henry Cavill, Jared Leto. If you're going to have a cameo, have the actor.
Did you read the leaks?
I didn't read the leaks. But
okay.
I'm guessing what you're saying is maybe she does appear in the movie. So that's good. Then
she's confirmed to appear in the movie. Yeah, she's.
I think we talked about this before.
Yes.
Actually. Maybe I did a video.
She's confirmed to appear in the movie, but they don't have any details.
Yeah. Okay. So that's okay then. Maybe it's a thing like, oh, he's dreaming about her, but then she'll actually show up in person in the movie, something like that. But yeah, hopefully it's her. If it's confirmed to be her, that's cool. That's good. I do like the imagery of the Shazam family fighting a dragon. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Them teaming up, using all their powers to fight a massive dragon. Kind of something like maybe Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the opening there where the team is working together to fight that massive squid type monster thing. Something like that would be cool. And the Shazam family, I didn't expect. That was a big surprise to me in the first one when they showed up.
Yeah.
I just thought it was going to be a Shazam movie. And when they all came and got their powers and they worked together, that was cool. I really liked that. The suits were cool.
Their suit upgrades are cool.
The suit upgrades are even better. This time. So, yeah, this description sounds really good. I think they definitely got a bigger budget for the second one. Because actually, I was looking at the box office for the first Shazam, and it actually did respectfully well, considering it came out in between
Captain Marvel and Endgame.
It actually made a good chunk of money at the box office for an original character that nobody really knows about.
They should have released it in December because it's a Christmas movie.
And it's a good family movie. And I will admit, I haven't felt the urge to go back and rewatch Shazam.
Me either.
I've seen clips here and there and stuff, and I've watched the movie if it came up on TV, wherever it was, to the end, something like that. but like it's a fine movie. It's a good movie. It's just that it doesn't have that like, oh, I have to watch this again appeal to me personally, but maybe it
Yeah.
does to other people. And I actually
A
think
lot
the
of people
second,
consider this the best DCU movie
yeah,
because it's so
yeah,
wholesome.
yeah. Well, it is. It does. And it is dark in places too. You know, you got the stuff
Yeah.
with Mark Strong's character where he is the car crash, you know, and his dad in the wheelchair. I think, you know,
Mhm.
that's pretty dark. And then you also have kind of with Shazam and his mom, you know, Billy and his mother, and then being orphans and stuff like that. It I would consider it. People say it's a very Marvel DC movie. I'll disagree there. You know, I don't think it is. I think it's got its fun moments, its light moments, but I think it's also got its dark moments. But I enjoyed the first one. But I think as I said with the Batman, I think they're more used to the world, the characters. They can take a little bit more risk in the second one. I think the second one could be set up to be a really great movie. You got Lucy Liu there, you got Helen Mirren there, like they're fantastic actors and they're the villains. So that's
Yeah.
cool. The suits are cool. The cast is getting a little bit older, which is a shame. Maybe they should have cast a little bit younger for the first one, or maybe they should have got the second one out a little bit quicker because the cast is growing, you know. And the kid kind of environment to it, the kid feel to it of, oh, I'm a kid, I'm a superhero now, might be not so there with this one because they are a little bit older, but hopefully you can still capture that for many people who are interested in that aspect of it. So yeah, I think Shazam 2 has it can be. I'm looking forward to this one, and I think it could be better, way better than the first one.
Yeah, I agree. And also, the release date for it has changed. It has been pushed back by 1 week. So it will no longer be coming out on December 16th, the same day as Avatar 2, but it will be coming out on December 21st, I think.
It's still like Christmas is an interesting time because all movies have a good chance of doing well, but like Avatar's coming out, and I think that movie's going to be huge again.
Yeah.
Like people have sold on it as a joke, Avatar, James Cameron, but I think this one will be huge. I don't know if a week is enough for it to make a good chunk. You know, I think the carryover for Avatar could be huge.
Yeah. Also, but the thing is that the opening box office at least will be good for this movie, whereas previously it would have been just a dead movie because everyone's gonna see Avatar. But again, you know, apparently this movie is a summer movie and it's coming out at Christmas, and the first one was a Christmas movie that came out in the summer.
Well, Sandberg is brilliant because he makes a joke of himself.
Yeah.
I like him a lot because he does take. He was throwing digs at James Cameron there. James Cameron is quick in his boots.
Yeah.
You're welcome, James Cameron, for moving the release date. You know, something like that. That's good humor. I really like
Yeah.
that. He doesn't seem like the type of guy where, like, if this movie did flop, I don't think it would hurt him much as a person, maybe, because he seems like a very optimistic guy. And I think, like, it's a tough release strategy, but there's something for everyone at Christmas. And if Avatar is doing well, not everybody can go see Avatar. It's going to be packed out. So Shazam will be available for people to watch. And a few years
that's
ago,
true.
I think Aquaman came out, made $1 billion, but Bumblebee did fairly well for itself at the box office
Yes.
too. You know, so I think it will do. If it matches the box office of the first one, considering its release date, or gets even over it, I think that would be very, very good for Shazam 2.
Yeah. I think it will make more.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then they showed the Black Adam footage, and this is the description. I think this has the most description out of any trailers. So Black Adam is found in the mountains. We saw this in the trailer. Dr. Fate shows up. Slave origin, reborn a god. Destroyer of this world or its savior. This is a line from the trailer. Sarah Shahi finds him in the desert. Hawkman and Atom Smasher are in the trailer. Heroes don't kill people, but I do, he says. And some fan replied to, alright, let me complete this first. Had real Black Panther vibes, which is cool. Maybe they're saying that because of, you know, the Wakanda look and all that, and the technology. Similar look, similar jets, similar speed. Firing lightning, taking down a helicopter, and catching rockets. This is pretty cool. I think the action will in this movie will be pretty good because he almost has like Superman powers. So that will be pretty good. He's then told that heroes don't kill people, and then he replies, "Well, I do." So going back to this, some fan randomly replied to The Rock saying, "In the DCEU, Batman and Superman are killers as well." So it doesn't really, accentuate that this person is saying that heroes don't kill people, but I do. And The Rock replied saying, "Yes, yes, it does. It does mean something, and you'll see." So apparently it's gonna be brutal.
Good.
Yeah.
I heard some people like who were at CinemaCon. They were saying that this doesn't feel like a Rock movie because people are like typecasting The Rock or saying like every Rock movie is the same, it plays the same character.
Yeah.
And that is true to an extent because The Rock knows his audience and it's been very successful to him in his movies. But Black Adam, like DC, has a tone, and when it adheres to that tone, for me, it makes a better movie. And DC's always been darker in the movies than Marvel in the MCU, and that's what they should be aiming towards because Marvel can't do Joker, they can't do the Batman, they can't do Batman v Superman, stuff like that. DC can do it. They can do it all. They can do the comedy. They can do, but I think they're better at the darker stuff. And I expect this movie to be very interesting because it's introducing the Justice Society of America. It's introducing a Justice League type team into the Black Adam solo movie, and that's very selfless of The Rock to do that because he's a big movie star. You would think he would want the movie for himself, but he's introducing a lot of characters. You've got Pierce Brosnan coming in as Dr. Fate. You've got Cyclone. You've got Atom Smasher. You've got Hawkman, and that exchange between Hawkman and Black Adam sounds very interesting. Like the difference between villains and heroes is the heroes don't kill, and then Black Adam's like, well, I do, and he obviously has a reason for doing so. And the action scenes sound pretty cool. He's catching rockets, he's throwing them back because he is the Superman of that kind of. Black Adam has the powers of Superman, so he should be badass in his action scenes. It should look well. And it's good this movie maybe got pushed back a little bit because they can work on the visual effects, they can work on the CGI, and it sounds like it's going to be a really good movie, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be a really good movie in terms of The Rock's popcorn-driven type movies. Everyone goes home happy with no kind of thought-provoking themes. I actually think Black Adam could be the most darkest Rock movie that we've seen, where you're actually questioning the morality of the character and the moral values of the character, I should say, and the moral values of what the movie stands for. Because if The Rock can actually do that, I think it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. And maybe, I'm hoping, I don't think it can be exactly the same as like Batman v Superman or Man of Steel, but I think if it could do that, if it could have something similar to those two movies, but also have it be a popcorn-driven movie, like that could be more beneficial in terms of perception, general audiences, and box office. Because, a lot of the stuff with the Martin moment or the Zod neck kill kind of overshadowed those two movies, like online.
Yeah.
If the Black Adam movie can have the popcorn-driven stuff to it, the fun action, but also that kind of moment where you're kind of questioning the character, I think that could be really cool and unexpected for a Rock movie. Because The Rock obviously is a fan of DC movies, and he's probably looked at what worked and what didn't work from the past movies.
Yeah, he's been working on this for like 10 years.
Yeah, so like I'm not saying that The Rock doesn't like Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. He might love it, but he's looking at those movies from a business point of view. Yeah. And he's looking at it like, okay, so Man of Steel, it made that money, Batman v Superman, it made that money, but what was the perception around it? Oh, people didn't really like those things there, but they liked the action. Okay, if I can really work on the action, if I can make it fun in a way, but also have something like that where, there is talking points around the movie, I think The Rock is the one who can find the right mix in a way, and I hope he does. I hope there is some interesting teams there where you're thinking, oh, yeah, I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, I hope so. And Rokan said, the whole body double thing has always been cheap to me. Speaking of the, Wonder Woman cameo in Shazam, I'm hoping. But it was confirmed that she's going to be appearing. So I'll just say that. Captain Do Channel is here. Welcome. And he says, this DCEU doesn't have an identity anymore, guys. No direction, no global vision, no goal. I completely agree with you. I hope that changes. So we covered last, 2 weeks ago that, the DC overhaul is going on, and Zaslav is going to make some changes. He's going to, be getting a studio czar, a head that would be overseeing all DC movies. I hope when that fully integrates into the DC movies, I hope that we have a coherent universe going forward. But until then, we'll just have to make do with what we have. So yeah, let's hope for better things to come. All right, so moving on to the Flash one, which is my most anticipated one, and here's they showed a scissor reel, and this is what was in it. Barry goes back in time and to his childhood home. We saw that in the trailer. Barry watching a recording of himself. So this could be just a different Barry, or it could be him watching a recording of him in the past. We don't know, but I'm willing to bet that it's just him watching the Barry of another universe, which is in the movie. And apparently there are going to be 7 bat suits for Michael Keaton, and that's interesting. Affleck,
They say there, it's like, do you think? I think it'd be pretty cool if in that scene, like obviously he opens up some sort of room where there's 7 suits. You're
yeah,
gonna have the 89 one, you're gonna have the 92 one, you're gonna have maybe his brand new one, or maybe he gets that later in the movie. But I think it would be a nice nod to Joel Schumacher and Kilmer and Clooney if those suits were there, maybe as
yep,
well, just for
yeah,
a second.
yeah. I think that's the idea. I think he'll have those versions, and he'll probably have a couple of comic book, versions. Maybe a Dark Knight Returns version, but I don't know if they did it with Dark Knight Returns, but something like that. I feel Kingdom Come, maybe. So yeah. Affleck's Batman on the Batcycle. We saw this in the set photos that Batfleck is having a chase sequence at the beginning of the movie. He's after a truck full of robbers or whoever it was. He's chasing them, and apparently, that's a full-on action sequence with Batfleck, and I'm really excited to see that. Also, people who saw this footage didn't realize that that was Batfleck.
Yeah,
That's weird to me because he has the Ben Affleck costume, but maybe there's no close-ups of his face. Maybe they just showed it from behind.
yeah. 'Cause I see people were questioning. They thought it was Michael Keaton or a different
Yeah,
Batman altogether, because the Bat Cycle maybe is like related to Christian Bale for a lot of people. From when he
right,
had that.
right,
Yeah, they're probably thinking the shot could have been very kind of like not a close up, could have been from a distance or something like that, and they're thinking,
right.
oh my god, is Christian Bale in this movie? Because he did use that a lot, the tumbler, that was called, or something like that.
That's actually pretty smart if you think about it. If they put that in the trailer, because they're not confirming that it's Bale, but they're making people think that it's Bale.
Yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, I'm sure like when we get to see it, we'll probably think like, wait, that's Ben Affleck. How did anyone think any
Yeah,
different? So, but yeah, I am a little bit sad it didn't have like maybe a Ben Affleck close up or like a money shot for Ben Affleck.
yeah,
But I'm sure they will closer to the movie than they did, obviously.
yeah, for sure. And then we have Michael Shannon's Zod in that footage, which is kind of interesting to me because this was this was not a this was not announced in a way when the Flash movie was being made. This was announced way later, like recently, like last year, and to show him in the footage is kind of interesting to me. So apparently he's gonna be the main villain in the movie. So if that's the case, then they have to show him, right? Plus, it's also exciting to see him back because people who love Man of Steel and all that are excited to see him back.
It wasn't even like an announcement, was it, from like Deadline or any of the
No,
big trades? Well, I think what it could have been a mistake because like it had like their upcoming movies and they put the cast out and it had like Michael
yeah,
Shannon. So I think that may have been a mistake, and now they have to just kind of just go with it now. But I think it could work in the movie's value because if they do have him as a paper villain in terms of the marketing, they make him the villain and the posters and stuff like that. You have him there. The twist in the movie, I'm not going to say what it is. It's out there if you want to. Like, I don't know how it works, but there's the twist in the movie might be more beneficial if they have General Zod as the big villain and all the marketing. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's cool to see Michael Shannon back as General Zod. I rewatched Man of Steel recently, and he was just so good. But like, it's obviously a different timeline version. It's not the exact same one from Man of Steel, so it's different. It's probably Supergirl's timeline version. We don't we don't agree with the decision that Henry Cavill is excluded from this movie, or his version is dead, or whatever they're going to do with it. I don't agree with any of that at all. I also have second. I also have like, I'm not too sure about having Man of Steel, the template in this movie, because Zack Snyder is such a visionary, such a unique style. Can Andy Muschietti replicate some of the fight sequences from Man of Steel? Because if he can't, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. It's not going to look good. And yes, you could say, well, Andy Muschietti is bringing that character in to use it in his style, but that's okay. Yeah, if this was a sequel and you're bringing in Michael Shannon, and of course Andy Muschietti could do his own style with it, like Andy Serkis did with Venom 2, or like when another, like Sam Raimi is doing with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. The point is that this is a multiverse movie where they're actually recreating the events of Man of Steel in a different way, of course, different outcomes. Yeah. So, but it's going to look, you know what I mean?
But the thing with this one is that the same people who worked on the VFX of those things are working on this one. So I don't think that Muschietti, if he's including all this, I don't think he would go out of his way to change the way that looks. I think he will just try to keep it as consistent to that as possible.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Zack's VFX team worked on the Snyder Cut, and have worked on a lot of his movies. Are working on this. So yeah, that is a good point actually. But it's a bit of a ballsy move from Muschietti to train.
It is.
Especially with the fan base, especially with the perception of the DC universe, to kind of go back and go through the events of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Now, look, we're intrigued by the Flash movie. I can't say whether I agree with that decision or not until I see the movie. You know.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people are saying a lot of things. I know that a lot of people are upset by this. So I'm not. I'm actually excited to see, because I'm someone who actually wants the DCU and Snyderverse to be separate, so that there's no more battles of what to do and what not to do. Both can individually do anything they want. Like, why is this still not the case in 2022? I don't understand. Like, this should have been done since 2017. Like, both can coexist. I don't know why it's so impossible. But if they are going to separate, that's actually pretty helpful for both directions. I feel like, so the Supergirl thing, that's the next description here. Supergirl is shown, finally, except that one shot in the background. So the thing with Supergirl is that, if Supergirl is to exist in the DCU, I feel like one way to do it is just, having her being on a separate planet. That's probably what's gonna happen in the Snyderverse, but I don't know how she was gonna be brought back. We still don't know. But one version of doing it was an alternate universe where Clark Kent never made it to Earth, but instead, the Supergirl made it to Earth. So I think that's the way they're going with it. So in order for that to happen, Zod has to kill kill the baby when Jor-El is sending the pod. So he has to destroy the ship, which he was unsuccessful in doing in Man of Steel. He was stopped, and the pod left. So maybe that's the point where he'll succeed in this one, and the pod gets destroyed, Clark dies, Supergirl gets to leave, right? So yeah, Feora is also in this movie, but there's no description of her being in a trailer. But she is in the movie, and I'm really, really happy to see Feora and Zod coming back, because they were awesome in Man of Steel. I love that movie, and having Supergirl here is also cool, because having Supergirl does not actually eliminate the chances of Superman being present, because she's from a different timeline, but our timeline Superman is still around. The only thing that's preventing him to be in this movie is contracts. So I hope Zaslav signs the new contract and just gets him another movie or whatever he wants, and He can then add a cameo of Henry Cavill Superman in this movie. There's still 1 year left. Still a lot can change. And it feels like Zaslav's focus is Superman. He mentioned him a lot of times. So maybe that's, maybe that's on the table. Henry Cavill was still championing Man of Steel 2 just a few months ago. Obviously, he was probably also waiting for the new management to take over so that the negotiations could start again. Maybe they already have a deal together. I don't know, but I just hope that they bring back Henry Cavill Superman, because I think he's absolutely central and key to the DCU.
Like, even if they do kill Bailey Clark in the Flash movie, doesn't mean Henry Cavill is killed off in the DCU.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a different timeline.
We're talking about the multiverse, talking about the timeline. Like, you have the Zack Snyder timeline. You could have the main DCU time. Like, so you have this new branch that's we're going to see in the Flash and Batgirl and stuff like that. You also have the main DCU as well, where they could make a Superman theatrical movie, or Superman could exist in a different timeline, which is the Snyderverse. Like, there's still so many options. It's not that deep.
Yeah,
they're movies, and they can do anything that they want to do. They're bringing Michael Keaton back, for God's sake, And Ben Affleck is in the movie. And if you look at some leaks and stuff got to do with the Ben Affleck role in the movie, it may not be as small as we once thought, or it may not be the end as Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck's definition of the end and retirement is
every movie is his end.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued by the Flash movie. Could be a lot of fun, could be interesting, but it doesn't mean anything bad for the Snyderverse, right? Like that. But
I think people are just overreacting.
People need to get that out of their head, because it doesn't mean there's not one direct route for all of this at all. If anything has,
look at the X-Men movies, dude. Like, how many stuff did they retcon and still made awesome movies?
Look at the
doesn't
MCU
matter.
Now. They're bringing back Professor Xavier. They're bringing in.
Yeah.
This is already out there. Obviously, they've released it in a trailer. But like Haley Atwell is coming from the What If, and she's a live action Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like the possibilities are endless. You have Sam Raimi talking about Spider-Man 4. Who would have thought that would have happened 5 years ago? Anything is possible.
Yeah. Speaking of Keaton, the last description line from this is Keaton's Batman says, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." In that scene at the end of the first teaser trailer, where Barry and Kara are standing and he asks, "You in?" After that, the scene continues and Michael Keaton's Batman is without the cowl but in the Batman suit, and he says, "Let's get this." So a lot of people are kind of upset with this. A lot of people think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. I don't know why you are shocked by this. Like, I don't know. Like, it's almost like saying bring back Tobey Maguire but don't let him say the responsibility line. Like, what?
Yeah, like, I thought it was a really good nod in
Spider-Man. His Batman is the only one that says this stupid line. So I don't know how you cannot use that.
Even Toby about his back in Spider-Man No Way Home. That was a nice little nod. Spider-Man 2, my back. My back.
Yep.
I think it's cool. Now, this might be a line that doesn't actually make it into the movie. It could just be a marketing line, for the trailers and stuff like that.
True.
I could see them cutting it as well. But yeah, it is a good nod back to the first one. It's kind of don't get nuts. What some of the trailer descriptions as well said is that Keaton, when we first see him, has long white hair and a beard. So that's going to be interesting to see Keaton like that. Old man Batman. That's what someone said in the description after seeing the trailer. So he obviously shaves and stuff. So he may have been retired as Batman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, we don't know who else exists in his
Alfred
universe.
is dead.
Alfred's obviously dead. But like, we don't know, because the timeline's a little bit messy, because the Batgirl movie has made it a little bit messy as well, because we never Commissioner Gordon was different there. So who knows? Maybe in Keaton's Batman world, he had a Batman v Superman type thing. Like Christopher Reeve or something like that. Imagine that, or they could bring in Brandon Routh or something like that. Like that could be. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. And Captain the Channel says Jeffrey Dean Morgan said that he was supposed to play Batman in this movie as planned, and he was discarded when Keaton stepped in. I'm not really into nostalgia, and I think this is a missed opportunity to bring back Keaton's Batman. He should have come back in a Batman Beyond live action. I agree with you. I would have definitely 100% preferred Jeffrey Dean Morgan's, Flashpoint Batman in this movie, but that is not what this movie is, and unfortunately, this movie is not exactly an adaptation of Flashpoint. It's just taking some aspects of Flashpoint and some aspects from different comics. So if it was 100% Flashpoint adaptation, I would have said that yes, that's definitely the wrong way to go. But since it's just a Flash movie, now completely into a multiverse, Batman included, and all that stuff movie, I don't think that is 100% important. And we still
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing with this Batman, so we'll have to wait and see.
And it doesn't mean that we don't get to see a Flashpoint in Flash 2. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah, that
Jeffrey Dean
Flashpoint's
Morgan,
adaptation could still happen.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan could be brought in at any stage. That would be cool, Easter egg for fans and stuff like that. Especially if this movie is a success, they want to
Yeah,
bring more multiverse stuff into it in the sequence. But in terms of the Jeffrey Dean Morgan, from a business point of view, when you have a universe that maybe hasn't been as successful as they may have wanted, and that's got to do with their own fault as well.
yeah,
But if this was a continuity of Zack Snyder's world and he was still a main producer and everything was supposed to be the way that it was, Jeffrey Dean Morgan probably would be the Thomas Wayne Flashpoint Batman. But
absolutely.
considering things have changed and shifted over time, the business decision to bring Michael Keaton back instead of Jeffrey Dean Morgan in as Thomas Wayne makes more sense
Yeah,
because box office in terms of Michael Keaton's back as Batman, it's a multiverse movie. No offense to Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but people would be like, why is he Batman? Or
yeah,
he's a big enough star, but he's not Michael Keaton was Batman 30 years ago, big enough star.
yeah.
And I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Walking Dead, stuff like that. I love him and
I still
Watchmen.
want that Batman, and I still want that Flashpoint
Yeah,
story. I hope we get that one day because look, in the DCEU, they have to build. They already built up with Zack Snyder's Justice League the Atlanteans and the Amazons. So that's also one big part. Like Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot and their tribes are gonna fight each other. There's gonna be a big war. Gal Gadot severs Mira's head. That's gonna be there. So stuff like that is awesome. Which I think if they do Flashpoint, they should bring all of that in because all of that is awesome. And if you don't bring all of that, then don't get even, the Flashpoint Batman. Like, because why bother just touching on it? I would much rather prefer a full on adaptation with the actors you already have. Because that's like an awesome story, and I want to see the entirety of it. I don't want just one thing out of it, added to this movie. So since this movie is just a Flash movie, not a Flashpoint movie, I feel like this version of the movie that we have is all right, and it will make for a pretty good movie. I'm actually really excited for this because not just because of Michael Keaton. I could care less about him, to be honest. He's not my Batman. But Ben Affleck's Batman, Supergirl, Zod, Fiora, revisiting Man of Steel, all of that, even Ezra Miller's Flash, all of that stuff is just made for me. Like, I want to see more of that. So I'm excited for that one.
and if you want to look out there, there's little leaks about who's appearing in the movie as cameos. Um, there's Jeremy Irons is coming back, which is cool.
Hmm.
And there's other ones there. I won't spoil them because the movie is going to have a lot of surprises,
Yes.
and some stuff has leaked which probably wasn't supposed to leak at all. And I think a lot of people. I think I'm excited. Like I'm not. I'm excited with some of these cameos. I don't think you need. We're not talking about you need cameos for a movie to be successful and stuff like that. No, but it's a multiverse movie, and this is the direction they're going and stuff like this. But some of the cameos I heard about are pretty interesting and exciting, and I hope they're done in a respectful way. Because there's a lot of fans out there who do love certain interpretations of characters over others, and I think if I hope it's done in a respectful way. I think this movie could be fantastic. It could be great, it could be bad. We just don't know. Let's wait until the first proper trailer comes out. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. I am intrigued by it. I do like Michael Keaton's Batman a lot. I do like Batman Returns. Is one of my favorite Batman movies. And yeah, Ben Affleck's my favorite. He's going to be in the movie for a bit. Hopefully, maybe we just don't know what's going to happen in the future. Like we could get a Crisis movie. We could get a Justice League 2 with Zack Snyder. We could get a different Justice League movie. We could get Flashpoint, Flash movie 2, where Jeffrey Dean Morgan comes in for a quick cameo. Anything can happen. You just don't know. So I'm just gonna take the movies as they come and try and enjoy them.
Yeah. Hopefully, when they, set up the actual DCU with a proper head and all that, hopefully then we'll have much better, consistent, and better connected movies and better planned movies, which is the most important, than we have now. So yeah. With that, we have our final topic of this extremely long show. Rebel Moon. All right, so Zack Snyder firstly Zack Snyder was announced as the cinematographer on Rebel Moon by producer Eric Newman, and he'll be shooting this movie in Red V Raptor ST, which I looked up, and it's actually a brand new camera. So I have searched for movies made with this camera, and there are none. So I think Rebel Moon is going to be the first movie being shot with this camera, and I'm pretty hyped for that. And also, Zack Snyder himself posted the day one images of Rebel Moon. So he's on set with, he's on location here with, the camera rig and a spaceship type of thing that is landed. It has a similar style to Ben Affleck's Flying Fox, and that's pretty cool. And we have another image from inside. It looks very mechanical and awesome. And then we have a first look at Jaimon Hansu, his character. So we don't know exactly who he's playing, but here's the first look. I think this is actually very, very interesting because the suit kind of looks like a Kryptonian suit with the inscription in it that probably means something. There's a crown symbol in the middle, so he's probably king of something. And there's two infinity symbols on the shoulders, so I don't know what that means, but it's also interesting to see that I know a lot of people are kind of disappointed that Zack is doing this again because they were not liking the depth of field in Army of the Dead, which fuck those people. But I'm just kidding. I understand the preference of not enjoying that type of cinematography, but you have to remember Army of the Dead is a very specific type of movie. It's a zombie movie with character focused scenes. So it's not like the entire movie was just shot with the blurry background. It wasn't. Like only the close-ups were. So I don't think a space sci-fi movie will all be shot with the blurry background. It's just not something you do. Zack Snyder knows this. He's been in the business since like decades. So don't worry about it. I just don't know why people are freaking out about it as if this is Zack Snyder's first movie ever. Like, has he ever disappointed us?
Yeah, because like Dawn of the Dead looks exactly like Batman v Superman, or
Yeah,
Sucker Punch looks just like
Man of Steel.
Like Man of Steel. Like I don't understand that argument. People, I don't know if it's people who are actually fans of Zack Snyder made that up, or people who hate Zack Snyder made that up, because it just doesn't make any sense. Because each Zack Snyder movie is different from the last. Every single one of them. Look at Zack Snyder's Justice League, for God's sake. It looks so different than Man of Steel or even Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Watchmen. He's trying something new. He doesn't want his movies to be copy and paste. He doesn't want them to look exactly the same. He has different cinematographers at times. He has different, maybe a second unit director. He has different writers involved. And that's good. He wants his movies to look different. We don't want the exact same movie every single time. And what Zack Snyder is so good at is reinventing stuff, is using different technology. He's been testing out the volume. He's using this new camera. He likes being a cinematographer now. He likes holding the camera. He likes being the director of photography. That's cool. And I can guarantee you the Rebel Moon will look so different than Army of the Dead. For one,
Absolutely.
the actual story, the premise to it. One's a zombie movie in Las Vegas. The other one is a space movie, a sci-fi Star Wars
with aliens,
Seven Samurai, aliens, warriors, planets. Come on.
Army of the Dead 2, which is called Planet of the Dead. I think that movie is something that would be similar to this one, and even that would be extremely different from Army of the Dead 1.
Yeah, I like there's a great shot at the start of the movie where Zeus breaks out the safe, the container, and he's overlooking Las Vegas. Yeah, that's a great shot.
Yep.
Shot of the planes going through Las Vegas and dropping the bombs. That's a cool shot. Like, it's not like every single shot was a blurry background shot.
Also, Zack said that Rebel Moon is gonna be more in line. If there was one thing that's similar in the past to what Rebel Moon is gonna be like, he said that it's gonna be like the Man of Steel Krypton sequence on steroids. I didn't see any blurry backgrounds in that sequence. Have you?
Oh, that was badass. That was cool.
It was.
No, there's no problem there whatsoever. That's just a stupid narrative out there right now about Zack Snyder and blurry backgrounds. So yeah, that's cool. In the first look, Jaimon Hounsou, he seems to be in every movie. He's a really good actor.
He's awesome. He's in DC movies. He's in Marvel movies. He's the type of actor where most people probably don't know his name, but they recognize him by seeing.
Yeah, he pops up. It's cool. Yes, he looks badass, and I'm sure the symbols or the armor he's wearing, I'm sure it has some meaning, because the Kryptonian language was written for Man of Steel for the inside the Man of Steel suit. Superman suit. And it's got a Joseph.
And it was never explained in the movies, so it's not required, but it's still there.
It's something to world build for the actors, probably for the writers and stuff like that. But no, there's the ship there as well. It's early days yet. They're only early into the shooting, because this shoot's going on in November. It's a very long shoot, and I like to show people the different scale. It's like the original Justice League was shooting from April to November.
Yes.
This is the same length shoot, and look how huge Zack Snyder's Justice League became. Yep. So, and this is 2 movies he's doing as well. Rebel Moon 1 and Part 2. So we're going to see a lot more behind the scenes photos. We'll probably get like character looks as well of Ray Fisher, Sofia Boutella, how they're going to look. Which will give
I'm
us
excited to see Sofia Boutella's character. Like, she's the lead.
She's the lead. We haven't really seen anything yet. And so look, Rebel Moon, I'm very excited for this one. It's a story that he had originally for Star Wars. He pitched to them, but then it didn't happen, so it's reshaped into this Rebel Moon now, which is, it's going to be, I'm looking forward to this one, because Netflix is really good at building TV franchises. So Ozark, Stranger Things, whatever else they have as TV shows. But what they haven't done is built a movie trilogy in a way, or like a franchise.
Yes.
They've done it with a few of the rom-coms. I forget the name of them. The Kissing Boot, I think, is one of them, and then another one, teenage romance stuff. But they haven't had like a proper franchise. And this is what Zack is doing. He already has 2: Army of the Dead, Army of the Thieves, Planet of the Dead. Now Rebel Moon will be 1 and 2. They're already confirmed to have spin-offs, probably TV shows as well. So he's building a movie franchise, because what Netflix hopes is, when you're signing up for Netflix, Stranger Things is one of the big things, or one of the, that's what they're hoping Rebel Moon can be, and Army of the Dead can be. 2, did you notice as well? One of them is the zombie genre, the other is the sci-fi genre.
Yep.
And I can guarantee you, I've been saying this for a while, down the line he will make a superhero genre for them as well.
Yeah. But the thing is, Army of the Dead is not just a zombie genre movie. Like, the first movie is a zombie genre, but Army of Thieves was a heist movie. And he said that there might be other spin-offs as well, so we'll have to wait for that. There's an animated movie for that one. a prequel animated movie. I don't know if that's gonna come out. But the sequel, Planet of the Dead, is again traveling probably to their planet, which would make it a sci-fi movie again. So, and it
Yeah.
has all the supernatural elements like Terminator and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's no longer just a zombie movie. That's also a sci-fi movie, and Rebel Moon is just a straight up Star Wars esque space sci-fi movie. So I'm excited to see that, and that's like that. I've been saying this a lot, but it's really true because this is like my dream combination. Space sci-fi is my favorite genre ever, and Zack Snyder is my favorite director. So him doing this genre is like the dream. So I'm really, really excited to see that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And he has no handcuffs. He's got and probably a huge budget if he wants to use it.
Yeah.
Unlike the other place he worked at. So, or in terms of like creative choices, and so like yeah, it's exciting, and we get a lot more behind the scenes photos and first looks, and the first movie, like one of these movies is supposed to come out next year, I think. Rebel Moon, sometime in 2023. Maybe the two of them will. I'm guessing maybe late 2023 we get the first one, and early 2023 we get the second one.
Yeah.
So, or early 2024, I should say. So yeah, let's go. And I wonder if there's any more casting announcements to be made either. I see Jared Leto hanging out with some people television.
Yeah,
So
dude, if he's in this movie, oh, I'll just freak out.
yeah, that'd be cool.
People will just, they'll just freak out about it. But there's two other updates as well. So there is one filmmaker on set. I don't know what his role exactly is in the movie, but he posted a picture on his story and he said, "I just witnessed the biggest SFX explosion ever. Best day in my life." And he's calling Rebel Moon a masterpiece already. That's cool to see. And this is from yesterday. Steven Swain is the production designer on Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. His previous works include Star Wars The Force Awakens, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, Solo, A Star Wars Story, and House of the Dragon. So House of the Dragon hasn't come out yet, but the other three have, and I feel this is a pretty good bunch of movies to have on your resume. They're awesome visually, no matter what you think of the story or anything. Solo and Rogue One are awesome. The production design is amazing. Even Force Awakens, it looks amazing. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they make for this movie. Apparently, Zack is not going to be using the volume, the LED technology. Apparently, he's just going to be using green screens, which is cool to me because they're actually building sets. So it will be more physical sets than just green screen. So I'm excited to see that, like the spaceship we saw in the previous post. So yeah, what do you think of this? Do you think having the Star Wars production designer on this movie is pretty good?
Oh yeah, yeah, of course, the production design, because um correct me if I'm wrong, the volume technology wasn't around for Force Awakens and Rogue One.
No.
And it was like the sets were built, it was
Yeah.
CGI, it was green screen. The Mandalorian technology is pretty cool and it looks good, but it also has a limit in terms of what you
Yes.
can do. And a lot of if you were to really just dissect the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, they can't really do what they want, because on the set it does look a little bit fake if you were to really look at it in terms of like a chase sequence. It
Yeah.
looks like the same street and stuff like that. It doesn't look that's different. And then like you could see maybe how far a character could walk that way in a way.
Yeah.
But with production design, with like VFX stuff, you don't really have those issues at all. And I'm sure the volume is cool. Zach will use it eventually, and it's cool in the Mandalorian. There's some cool shots there and stuff. But I like when Zach has those kind of some natural shots mixed in with his VFX shots as well. And
Mm-hmm.
we get a lot of those. Man of Steel is very VFX heavy, but there's some cool shots of just Henry Cavill Superman, or it's just him as Clark walking down a road, and there's some
Yeah.
cool shots there, or walking out or coming out of the water. or in the snow and stuff like that. Those are real shots and they're cool shots. And
Yeah.
I'd love to see. I think they will because where they're shooting, where they shot the original trilogy for Star Wars, I think there's been a lot of shots like that, natural shots. And what I really like from Eternals is, I think was it the first MCU movie to shoot on location, or one of the first, and it adds a lot to the movie. Of course, there's visual effects, there's CGI, but some of those shots are breathtaking in Eternals when you get to see them in theaters. So yeah, Zack will have a mixture of that, and I prefer that instead of just volume, volume, volume. So yeah, look at
Yeah.
Zack Snyder. He can make anything work. He'll have a beautiful looking
Exactly.
movie.
Like even his haters acknowledge that he has the best visuals. So if he's working with the volume, I'm sure he would have done a really good job. But I feel like it's a good thing that he is working with something that he already has experience with and not something brand new. So it's not experimental. You know what I mean? So I actually like that he's going the traditional route. I don't know what the reason is for that shift, but I'm glad that this is happening. But I cannot wait to see more set pictures. I cannot wait to see more cast announcements and more first look reveals. I cannot wait to see Jared Leto in it. I'm just kidding. But wouldn't it be bonkers if he's in it?
Yeah, the voice of an alien or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. All right. So that concludes our show for today. Thank you everyone for stopping by. Rokan, Jason, Ben Olsen, Eric Patterson, and Captendo Channel. Thank you for joining. Olive Dalton, thank you for joining. And you can find us at the Real Talk Live on all social media. You can find me at Krypton Caged on all social media. And where can they find you, Mar?
Yep, movies that matter.
All
On
right.
all social media. And like yeah, go follow our Instagram accounts and Twitter accounts for all the latest news. Because sometimes we don't get to cover certain topics because there's so much topics, and sometimes we don't have a show for a week or 10 days or so the news can go up on those pages pretty quickly. So yeah, and don't be afraid to engage and comment on them stuff as well. Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we love having discussions. So if you disagree with us, tell us why. You can, put your point across. We'll definitely engage and, we'll have a good debate about why or why not. So we encourage all types of opinions here. So yeah, feel free. All right. So until next week, see you. Take care and goodbye.